What is going on? We are live. Sports Moves, as always, is C Moody here with
D Moody.
And we're here to talk sports one more week. NFL, a couple weeks away from the playoffs. Not to mention WWE Clash of Champions is this Sunday. NBA. Also, who won the Heisman before we get to the bowl games? 2 Moody's.
1 duty.
Sports. Let go. What is going on, guys? As always, it is C Moody here with
D Moody.
And we are Sports Moves, 2 Moody's,
1 duty.
Sports. Now we have to kick this thing off. Thanking everyone once again for the people who've been watching us, following us, whether it's your first time, which I've seen in I think our last 10 days. We've gotten somebody from Montreal, Canada, as well as Columbus, Ohio. So thank you. As well as our constant people, no matter how many places or how great the volume, the most frequent watchers I always tend to see whenever we can be able to review the limited amount of stats we can see is from Ashburn, Virginia, as well as our home state, South Carolina, from Timminsville. So for that,
I was not expecting it to make that type of sound.
I honestly haven't done it in so long. I didn't know it was getting louder.
That was a shock to me. I was like, oh.
But yeah, we truly appreciate it. We thank you. As always, follow us when we're not doing this throughout the week. We only do this once a week. Follow us on Twitter at Sports Moods.
Yeah, we need more followers on Twitter, guys. I think we're just sitting at 11 or 12. I mean, this Twitter page has been up now probably about 2 months. I mean, we try to be as up to date and accurate as possible when it comes to the Twitter page. You know, again, both of us do work retail. I'm usually the guy handling the Twitter page, and C Moody over here is doing the Instagram pages. We will eventually in the near future make a Facebook page as well, so you guys can connect with us there. But I would appreciate if we could get more followers for Twitter. I'm constantly on Twitter trying to keep you guys up to date on what's going on, what's new, breaking news, scores, the NBA games, NFL games, giving you my opinion of what's going on with WWE, whether it's Raw, Smackdown Live. So, I mean, if you really want a up close and personal view of what's going on every day in sports and kind of want to know what my opinion is, just follow us at Sports Moods and to get that info from me.
And on the other side, we have us. Follow us on Instagram at It's Sports Moods. That is where I, C Moody, kind of do definitely not up to date, but I try to post, give you visuals, either reposting whatever is kind of going on in the sports world, anywhere between NFL, NBA, my favorite WWE, or I try to give you a visual of what you might have missed while watching Sports Moves, our predictions for the week, and where we stand, because when we started the season kind of saying who would get the most right or get, accurately predict the most games. With that being said, I am currently retaining with this week included at making it 133-75. Even though I had a bad week and D Moody won this week at 9-7, which is now putting him at 131-77.
I'm only 2 back.
So 2 back. This week I had 7-9 while he had 9-7. So
it's been a tight race all year, man.
Definitely.
It's like you've been in the lead. I would say you've been in the lead for most of the weeks, but I've always kind of been right there. I took the lead on you like for a week or two there. I think I had the lead for like 2 weeks.
Right.
And I started out in week 1 5-10, and then I had been battling to get back, and then I was able to catch you about at the halfway mark of the season, and then it kind of
just
took that little 2 week hiatus, and a lot changed. even though we didn't really do a podcast there in that time frame, we were still keeping up with the picks of who we thought would win, and then you were able to get back in front of me. So, I mean, it's still a couple weeks left, so a lot still can happen.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, it's only a 2-game separation. Hopefully, I can maintain this, and I can be the guru of the season, as I like to call it. So, but like you said, anything can happen in 2 more weeks.
Yeah, you're
right.
But
we're here to recap on NFL Week 14. And it kicked off with a better game than it's a pretty good game, I guess you would say. New Orleans Saints going into Atlanta to take on the Falcons, and the Dirty Birds held on at home, winning 20-17. Matt Ryan, even though he threw 3 picks, did get a touchdown and 200 yards. Devontae Freeman did rack up 91 yards and a touchdown, and Julio Jones, of course, with 5 receptions, almost gets 100 yards. So a good win for the Falcons. Drew Brees did almost throw for 300 yards with 2 touchdowns through a pick. They held Mark Ingram to just 50 this week.
And I thought that was a big thing by them doing that, because, that rushing attack with him and Alvin Kamara, they've been doing some big things this year. They're probably one of the better rushing teams in the entire NFL.
Definitely.
And for the Falcons defense to be able to kind of hold Ingram to that output with rushing yards is really good.
Yeah, and definitely Mike Thomas only had 117 yards as far as receiving with 1 touchdown. And with, like you're saying, with the double threat between Mark Ingram and Kamara, he only had 2 yards.
Rushing? Kamara? Wow. I don't know, was it more of a pass? Because I didn't really get to catch much of the game.
He did have 25 yards pass receptions.
Receptions, okay.
Yeah. 3 receptions for 25 yards.
But did Drew Brees throw the ball a lot in that game? How many completions versus attempts?
As far as his completions, he had 26 out of 35.
Yeah, so they seemed to throw the ball a little bit more, kind of relied on Brees to kind of do it more. But I like the Saints when they run the ball more.
Exactly. When they're more balanced, they're more efficient.
Yeah, they are. They are.
And I think by them seeing that, Drew Brees was heavy on passing this week, it kind of shows, unfortunately. The Falcons rallied off 10 points at the end to come back to win.
Mm-hmm. So. And it wasn't really a great game from Matt Ryan either, because the only reason I know that is because he's one of my quarterbacks on my fantasy teams, and I think he had a couple interceptions in that game. 3, yeah. And didn't really give me a strong showing in terms of fantasy points this week.
Yeah, definitely.
But to say he turned the ball over that many times and they were still able to find a way to win, I mean, that's credit to the Falcons on that.
Definitely. Next game we have is the Indianapolis Colts going into Buffalo to take on the Bills in that deep winter atmosphere.
They were inside of a snow globe. You ever seen a snow globe where you just take it,
right,
it upside down and shake it, and you just see the snow just falling?
And I didn't get to watch the game and see the highlights, and that's probably looked like it looks like one of those throwback football games, like Frozen Tundra games. But the Buffalo Bills took this win in overtime thanks to LaShawn McCoy getting a 21-yard run with just a minute and a half left in overtime to seal the win 13-7. Peterman, quarterback for the Bills, went 5 for 10 with 57 yards and a touchdown, while LaShawn McCoy had 32 carries for 156 yards and 1 touchdown to win the game in overtime. Jacoby Brissett went 11 for 22, only had 69 yards and 1 touchdown.
Yeah, you can't really throw in the Great White like that. I mean, that's just a lot. Pretty much, they were in Narnia trying to play football. I mean, but you can't do that. I mean, Vinatieri is one of the clutch kickers. He had some miscues kicking the ball. I saw a highlight on ESPN where they were trying to clear, the space. They actually had to take a timeout because they were running out of time of actually trying to clear enough space where he could get proper footing to set the ball up to try to kick that extra point, which he made. But I mean, those are just tough conditions. But a lot of the players said that, hey, it was fun playing in the snow.
Yeah.
And we being here in South Carolina, we've never seen anything like that.
Exactly.
As soon as we get a snow flurry, schools are closing down. The whole city is on shutdown. So to see stuff like that is pretty cool.
Definitely, man. Next game, we have the Chicago Bears rallying on the Cincinnati Bengals in Cincinnati, 33-7. Mike Trubisky had 271 yards for a touchdown. The running back Howard had 147 yards and 2 touchdowns. while Dalton just messed up his name just like that, so I just said Dalton. Only had 141 yards. He went 14 for 29 with 1 touchdown and 1 pick. It was a good game, but it wasn't a good game for the Bengals.
It wasn't. It really wasn't.
To say the least.
It hasn't
man.
been a good season for them either. As you know, I've been saying, if you follow this podcast for much of the season when we started this back in August, I just feel that Marvin Lewis has to go.
You've been wanting his head this
I've
entire
been wanting
season.
his head on a platter for a very long time, and I'm hoping at the end of the season that Cincinnati makes that decision and go ahead and cut off ties with him.
Possibly, man. Possibly it happens. So finally, Kansas City gets back on the winning side of things as they rally at home to beat the Oakland Raiders 26-15. Kareem Hunt ran for 116 yards. Kareem Hunt, the rookie we haven't seen
like
for
New
a
Day,
while.
like how
right.
New Day, Kareem Hunt. I haven't heard his name since week 5,
Exactly.
week 6, week 4.
It's been in the shadows for a while now. Finally getting to see the light of day on the Oakland defense, and on top of that,
New Day. Yes, it is.
Right. Alex Smith, man, goes for 268 yards passing and just 1 touchdown. It's a good win for Kansas City.
They need that.
Need it.
They really did.
Definitely need it.
5-0 start, and then you go on that little losing streak there.
Went on a 4-game losing streak.
Yeah. And then right now, by them going on that losing streak, and you got the LA Chargers in that division playing really good football. The Raiders were able to catch up. But they own the tiebreakers over a lot of these teams, despite that these teams are so close in terms of record-wise to try to challenge them for the division. But Kansas City, they can finish out the season strong. I still think you got to fear them a little bit just because of what they're capable of doing.
Exactly.
If they can try to, circle the wagons and get things going, they'll be okay.
Yep. The next game, which is probably one of the bigger games of this week, was Minnesota Vikings in Carolina taking on the Panthers. And the Panthers win 31-24. Pretty decent game for Cam Newton, getting 137 yards passing, 1 touchdown. Even though he threw 1 interception, he did run for 70 yards, though, however.
Yeah, he had a big run. I was actually at work when this game was going on, and was looking at it in the break room, and I was just like, he broke off toward the end of the game there, broke off a big run, and they were asking him, it looked like he's slowed down. He said, oh yeah, I know what I was doing. I kind of kicked it back into third gear, given the fact of the time, so we wouldn't score so fast and give them an opportunity to get the ball back with a lot of time left.
Right, that makes sense, man.
Yeah.
Jonathan Stewart had a great game, though, 103 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. And they finally snapped the Vikings' 8-game win streak.
Case Keenum, man. I still think the Vikings are fine, too, man. Every streak has an end to it.
Yeah, definitely.
It's best to go ahead and lose now while you can than to try to go into the playoffs streaking.
Yeah, that's the truth.
If all people know how that feels to win every game or go on this long win streak
and lose it all at the Super Bowl.
Lose it all at the end.
Hey, man, how about Eli? But Case Keenum, man, he had a good game. 280 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Is it Alex or Adam Thielen? I think it's
Adam.
Alex Thielen.
It's Adam.
Adam Thielen?
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was. It was
Adam.
it's one or the other.
Well, who's Alex?
I don't know.
Alex Trebek?
Could
Jeopardy?
be. Doo-doo-doo. All right. 105 yards off of 6 receptions for a touchdown, man. Decent win by the Carolina Panthers that needs this going into the playoff time. Because I think they're just in the bubble outside looking in right now.
Carolina's actually, if it were to start today, they would be in.
Really?
Wild card wise. I think they're sitting at...
Oh, yeah, they are. They're number 5.
They're 9-4 right now.
That's perfect for
I
them.
feel like this is like I told you, they've been kind of up and down all year. But I still feel like once Cam is really confident and focused and actually going out there playing hard, this team is a hard team to beat.
Right. I agree with you on that one, man. Next game, it was a good performance for Brett Hundley as the Green Bay Packers beat the Cleveland Browns. Unfortunately, going into overtime, which I don't know how to feel about that. Just
Cleveland Browns lost in the most Cleveland Browns way possible. They were winning this game. They had this game, and they just what's my guy name? The quarterback there now, Deshaun Kaiser. Tries to make this. I don't know what he was trying to do. He's under pressure. He's under duress. He's scrambling all over the place, trying to make a play, and gets hit as he's throwing the ball. The ball goes up in the air, like vertical in the air. And it just comes straight down, and the Packer defender falls right under the ball. And then from then on, it's Mr. Devontae Adams.
Yep.
And Devontae Swing scores a touchdown.
Oh, man.
You know what? I mean, I thought Cleveland would get that first win, but it's looking like they're going to go.
They're going to go winless. Over.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty bad. And, I mean, a big ups for Green Bay, holding their own in enough time to get Aaron Rodgers back.
Yeah, they're still in the conversation. I mean, they're not, as I like to say, mathematically eliminated. They still need a lot to happen.
Yep.
But, you know, good thing is early in the season they did beat Seattle, who's on the outside looking in. They beat Dallas, who's looking up at them. And Detroit beat them earlier without Rodgers, so they do have to play the Lions one more time. So, I mean, they still need some other things to happen with Atlanta. And they play Carolina this week. So, but Atlanta did beat them earlier in the season. So, not out of it yet.
Yeah, not out of the woods so far. San Francisco 49ers beat the
Jimmy G.
Houston Texans 26-16. So as he said, Jimmy G, his Patriot native, I guess, Jimmy Garoppolo did throw for 334 yards. One touchdown despite one interception, but that was his career high, and they have their second straight win under Jimmy Garoppolo.
Because it wasn't looking too good for them at one time, too. Now, given the fact with the 49ers, I think they had like an NFL record this season, 5 losses decided by, I think, like 3 points or 7 points or less or something like that. Right. It was like they've lost a lot of games by slim margins this year. So their record is kind of deceiving in a way. But I still think this could be a team on the rise if they can kind of build around Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah.
As I'm surprised that they were even that New England pulled the trigger on that to trade him.
Yeah, I really don't know what their plan is as far as the quarterbacks over at New England about that.
Because Beathard's put together some good games too when he was in there.
Yeah.
C.J. Beathard, and now you got Garoppolo there. So we'll see what's going forward for them. But right now they're just playing for pride at this point.
Exactly.
Or the spoiler.
Yeah. Detroit. I was about to say. I guess because we was talking about Tom Brady and the Patriots. I was about to say the Detroit Patriots.
Don't ever put that blasphemy on my team. That is blasphemy.
Wow. That was hilarious.
Detroit Patriots.
I forgot we had a laughing sound effect. That is hilarious. I'm going to do it again.
What is going on with the sound effects tonight?
Our studio audience is prevalent right now.
Yeah. Let's
Detroit Lions beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 24-21. The man, the myth, the legend, Matthew Stafford. Is that how you feel? D?
I need some water here.
Oh yeah? Well, we'll have to get you something in our break. He throws for 381 yards. A great performance by him as usual, despite having 2 picks. Not his best.
Don't try to throw that inside. Despite having 2 picks, they try to rush through the stats and not act like.
I mean, he's always going to throw for big yards, though.
Of course.
Yeah, definitely.
He just never throws enough touchdowns in a lot of situations.
Oh, thanks.
To win. Get paid millions of dollars to play. Less than almost 500 football.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, Jameis Winston for the Bucs did have a pretty decent game, 285 yards as well, 2 touchdowns, and also had 2 picks. Game went almost down to the wire with the Bucs rallying back 14 points in the fourth quarter, but Matt Prater, 46-yard field goal with just 20 seconds left on the clock, sealed the deal for the
Year of the Kicker.
Year of the Kicker, again. Man. You get one job with these guys, and it means a lot, especially in this time of the year, or this year in general.
Just ask the Steelers.
That's
we'll get on them in a
main
little
factors, to say the least, man. Next, we have the Cowboys. That's beating up on the returning Eli Manning and the Giants 30-10. Dak Prescott with 332 yards, which is 20 out of 30.
That was good.
So only 10 incompletions, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions.
He had some long touchdown throws in that game too.
Man, what was his? He had an 81-yard pass to Rod Smith. Just a great performance, man. I like that.
Yeah, it looks good. It was I mean, even though Dallas, and I know you're running through the stats right now.
Yeah,
but they need a lot to happen to go.
Oh, definitely.
They really need a lot to happen to make it. Because a lot of those teams that they're looking up at, Atlanta, Green Bay, they have beaten them already this year. So.
Right. And also just another performance by them just showing out at the end with just 20 points. With just 17-10 going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So, it's a good rally for Dallas. Like you said, they got a lot to try to get in there. One of those teams that need a lot to happen.
They do.
Next, we got Tennessee Titans falling to the Arizona Cardinals.
I didn't see this one coming.
I called it.
You did.
I called that one.
You did call that the upset special to see Moody there.
Yeah, man. Blaine Gabbert had 178 yards passing, 17 for 26, no touchdowns, no interceptions. So, Larry Fitzgerald, the legend himself, Mr. Hands, only had 5 receptions for 44 yards. So,
but he hit a milestone this week, though.
What was his milestone?
He surpassed Randy Moss on the all-time receiving yards list. He's now in 3rd place.
Look at that.
I mean, you got to give it up for Larry Fitzgerald there.
Definitely.
I mean, he's had an awesome career. He's just been one of the more reliable and productive receivers that I've ever seen. Yeah. Despite whoever's been there, the quarterback that's been there, he still manages to put up his numbers. Even in the years when Kurt Warner was there in his early years and they made that rally to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Came really close to beating the Steelers that year. Who could forget that long touchdown catch he had in the Super Bowl against the Steelers? But, I mean, he's had a great, surefire Hall of Famer for sure.
Definitely. Big shout out to Larry Fitzgerald. But, hashtag year of the kicker. All 12 of the Cardinals' points were thanks to Phil Dawson, the field goal kicker who pretty much single-footedly
I like that. No hands involved.
Right. No hands involved. Beat them with just 4 field goals through the 3rd and 4th quarter. The longest one being 47 yards. So just easy kicking for him to pretty much rally against the 1 touchdown coming from the Tennessee Titans. Next game we have the Broncos shutting out the New York Jets 23-0.
The Broncos need that because I think before this win, they were on an 8-game losing streak.
I think so. They snapped their longest losing streak since joining the NFL in 1970.
But, I mean, in this game, in defense of the Jets, they did lose Josh McCown to a broken hand. He is out for the season.
That's pretty sad.
So, yeah. I mean, the Jets were on the outside looking in, but they really weren't going to make the playoffs. But I like McCown. He's giving them some stability at quarterback this year. But, I mean, it's just not going to happen this year for them.
No, not at all, man. Trevor Siemian, 200 yards. Denarius Thomas did get 93 yards in receiving with 1 touchdown.
Okay.
Good win for the Broncos. They, like you said, that was a game they needed, I guess, just playing
just to kind of put that long because they were 3-1 and then they lose 8 in a row.
And they're still the number 1 overall defense.
They are, despite the way they've been losing.
Exactly. That's at least that's ESPN statistics I've overheard this morning. So
that means the offensive coordinator needs to go, quarterback needs to go, everything relating to the offense
needs to start from the ground up, to say the least. Next game, we got the Washington Redskins against the Los Angeles. I almost said San Diego, so I had to pause.
I always want to say San Diego.
The Chargers rally in their new home 30-13. This is their 4th straight win.
This is a team I would want no parts of.
Especially
if they get into the playoffs, which could very well happen, and the matchup with them and the Chiefs this week is going to tell us a lot.
Yeah.
But this is an 0-4 team. Where did they come from? I mean, like Phillip Rivers is like Super Saiyan right now.
Oh, definitely.
He's just
I'm telling you,
balling out. I mean,
you can always bet on him during the regular season.
Yeah.
And he pulled up 319 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Just a good win by a good team. They're on the rushing side of it, though. Melvin Gordon, this game, he had 78 yards and 1 touchdown and just 22 carries. And Tyrell Williams did rack up 132 yards with just 4 receptions and 1 touchdown.
Cool.
Good win for LAC. Like you said, they're 2 games out of the bubble of the wild card, and they got 2 games left. I mean, a couple of things shake the wrong way, and we can see them in that wild card at least.
I wouldn't want to have no parts of playing them. If I'm the Pittsburghs, the New Englands, or Jacksonville's, or whoever's going to be those top 4 teams with the home field and the division winners, I wouldn't want to play San Diego. There we go.
See?
I wouldn't want to play Los Angeles.
See? That's why I had to pause, man. Like I said, I think this is probably one of the best teams of the lower end of the whole entire league right now. Mm-hmm. Another surprise.
They were giving. I didn't mean to cut you off there. They were saying should Phillip Rivers be considered MVP of the season, given the fact of how they started,
how
and what they rallied
back
from, and yeah.
I wouldn't give him the MVP.
I wouldn't.
I like him.
But he's very important to what they're doing, though.
Yeah, he's definitely pivotal to the team and just rallying over everybody. He's pretty much a quarterback that needs to be remembered as literally one of the greats of this time, despite just having unfortunate, series with teams all around. Mm-hmm. So the next game we have, though, which was what I was saying, is a surprisingly good game. The Jacksonville Jaguars beating Seattle Seahawks.
You didn't think that was going to be a good game
24.
going into it?
I just felt like just the way that Russell Wilson's been rallying these last couple of weeks.
He would just go there and have a field day.
I felt like even though Jacksonville has become a better team this year, definitely, I felt like this would be the team that if any team was going to scare them, would be a high efficient Russell Wilson with the Seahawks, and it would have just they would have beat themselves out of fear of this team. That's what I was thinking coming into it. So.
Okay.
Definitely.
So tell us what happened.
I mean, Blake Bortles just threw some really good passing. Mm-hmm. And he's playing some really good football, man.
Yeah.
268 yards, 18 for 27, so only missing 9 incompletions for 2 touchdowns. And then Leonard Fournette, man, he's coming. He's having a lot of up and down games this year, but when he does play when he can get off, he tends to get off. I mean, even though it took 24 carries, he did rally 101 yards and a touchdown. So
that's good. And I think Russell Wilson struggled a little bit. I think he turned it over like 3 times.
3 interceptions. 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, man. Just good. Like I said, their defense, Saxonville, like you say, I mean, I overlooked their defense a lot, and their defense is a force to be reckoned with. Like you said, they had 3 turnovers for just Russell Wilson throwing these interceptions alone, and they had the total yards, beating them 424 to 401. So.
Yeah, but the really big story with this game is just
what happened after the game.
The ending of the game. It was just just no place, I just think, in the NFL for it.
Yeah, we've been seeing a lot of just random aggressiveness this year. But go ahead. I'm just going to
go into a little bit of it here. Not going to spend too much time on it, but after pretty much after the first down was picked up for Jacksonville to seal the victory, it got a little heated. On the first down with less than a minute left, Seattle's Michael Bennett and Jacksonville's Leonard Fournette were both given unnecessary roughness penalties for a little fight that broke out following the kneel down to pretty much end the game. And then Seattle's Shelton Richardson was also ejected on the play as well. And then on the next play, Seattle's Quentin Jefferson was flagged for unsportsmanlike conduct and ejected as well. And then as he's making his exit from the stadium, fans are throwing Gatorade bottles or trash or bottles at him. Which, I mean, as a fan, I mean, at the end of the day, that should not happen. I mean, you have your right to root against who you want to root against or boo or cheer. You paid your money to be there in that seat to do that. But at the end of the day, this is a human being that you're throwing this at. And he said it at the interview. He said, I'm a man at the end of the day. What am I to do? Because he even tried to get into the stands as they were still continuing to throw things at him, which that's just no place for that. I mean, I feel like if we hold a standard to our players as a fan that's viewing the game, at the end of the day, you need to have more class and respect than that. I know they're at the game. These people are probably hammered from drinking and everything else.
Which they shouldn't allow. I mean,
yeah. I mean, as a fan, you should have to conduct yourself in a manner that you shouldn't be able to throw things onto the field. Like, I mean, we saw this a couple weeks ago here at home. I don't know if you remember seeing it, but with the Clemson versus South Carolina game, pre-game and throughout the game, the South Carolina Gamecocks fans are throwing stuff onto the field, bottles and stuff at Clemson players, and Dabo Swinney was like, "Hey, this is unacceptable. I didn't know that was a part of the game." Like, these people have more class than that. He's like, "It's not everybody here, but it's no place for that. I'm just worried about the safety of my players and everything." But same thing in this situation here. I mean, Quentin Jefferson was. I mean, I'm pretty sure at that point the man he's heated, he's angry, he's upset. The game is over. I don't agree with what Seattle did. At the end of the game, Michael Bennett has been known notoriously for getting involved in stuff like this. Don't be a sore loser. That team beat you. Even if you don't want to shake their hand at the end of the game, you still got to be a classy person at the end of it.
Exactly. And
if we're at the point where we're kneeing down to end the game, it's over. There's nothing else you can do. You've tried everything. You lost the game. That's it.
Just accept it.
Just accept it for what it is. It's football. That's why you play. You're not going to win all of them. You're not going to lose all of them unless you're Cleveland. But I just don't feel like there's a place in football for any of that. And I really felt suspensions should have been handed down for that. Anytime a player tries to go into the stands, just like you remember the NBA thing years ago with the Pistons and the Pacers, how the fans. I feel like you gotta.
But that was so much worse.
It was worse, yeah. It was really worse.
But I get what you're saying. I definitely understand. I feel like to his defense, like you said, it's a man reacting to being utterly disrespected. So I can see that reason not to suspend him. But as far as the unnecessary hitting the person, like you said, when we're clearly giving ourselves up by kneeling to end the game, that part could have probably orchestrated some kind of
discipline. Something at least. I mean, disciplinary action. Because, I mean, right now, as we were talking before the podcast, and we're going to get off and move on to something else. But, this kind of, what would I say, grinds my gears.
Right.
Because I just don't like to see stuff like this. But, like, at my point to the NFL head executives or whoever you are in whatever position you're in, what warrants a suspension? We saw A.J. Green do what he did a few weeks back with same Jacksonville, and nothing happened. But then we see the thing with the Saints and the Buccaneers a few weeks back with Jameis Winston, and then you got all these other guys on the sideline and stuff. Nothing happens there.
That's true.
But then we see Gronk. Now, Gronk, he deserved his suspension. I agree. What he did was wrong. That was blatant. That was just... And
after the fact. That's what I feel like. Yeah. What made it bigger is the fact that it was initially like kind of done, but he was still mad. So he re-aggravated something, which made it look more intentional than the heat of the moment.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I mean, the whole, like even the thing with Juju Schuster. Mm-hmm. He stood over the dude, taunted the dude. I mean, but what at this point, I guess what I'm saying, what warrants a suspension and what doesn't? What is there any type of balance when we look at these plays, which I'm pretty sure they do? Okay, was this egregious? Was this intentional? Was this? Was this that? How do you make that decision? Because we've seen some people fly under the radar and walk away clean, and some people get fined or suspended. So, just overall, no place in the game for that. That was my little rant on that. So. See, Moody, you can take it back.
I agree with you on that, man. Yeah, like you said, it's a sport. It's supposed to be just competition. At the end of the day, you're getting paid. You're going to win. If you're a better team, be a better team. But you got to, regardless of whether you're the better team or not, you should learn to be the better man.
And it should always be about sportsmanship at the end of the day, because you do have your family watching. Exactly. You do have kids or people who aspire to be in the position that you're in, and that's what we want to show our young kids or our young people. That's the way we should react when we lose a game, or even as fans. I'm not just saying for the players. We can't hold them to a standard and then not hold the fans to a standard too. If you're going to view a game, you have every right in the world to cheer, boo, whatever you want to do, but do not throw stuff at people.
Yeah, ridiculous.
I mean, you don't throw stuff at people. I mean, I'm pretty sure they swear against the people as they're walking in. I mean, at the end of the day, these are people at the end of the day. Because what if somebody came to your job throwing stuff at you?
Exactly.
What if somebody took something and throw something at you? How would that make you feel? Even though you might say, well, they're making way more money than me, but still at the end of the day, they're human beings.
Yeah. It's the concept of what we're supposed to be.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's my words of wisdom and my little rant, so I'll give it back over to you.
I appreciate it, man. Definitely insightful. The other highlight game of the week, which was my...
I got a feeling I kind of know where we're going with this.
Philadelphia, the Eagles, overcoming my LA Rams to win 43-35, which of course the game was better than the score because of that last little trickery play that was horrible, turned into an interception for the score at the very end of the play to get an extra 6 points. But really, the turnaround for this game, besides the fact of Carson Wentz going down to torn ACL, which, despite the repeated replay that they showed where him getting hit as far as him rushing into the end zone for a touchdown, they say that he injured it before the hit. So it was already torn before going into the touchdown.
But then they said that play didn't even count. So I think they even the play that he
and it makes it even worse.
Yeah,
But still, before he went out, he had 291 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Jared Goff did have 199 yards and 2 touchdowns. Todd Gurley had almost 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. Ajayi,
yep, you said it right.
Finally,
JJ. I gotta give you. It ain't a JJ. Good job. See Moody, you rock.
He had 78 yards, but the key pivotal moment for this that turned the tide was when Chris Long, someone who came into the NFL, signed and drafted by the Rams.
And won a Super Bowl with who?
He did win the Super Bowl with the Patriots.
With the who? I couldn't hear that. That was very low.
With the New England Patriots.
Super Bowl champion Chris Long. Get it right.
And what happened, and really what people failed to mention as well, they went down a right tackle 2 plays before. And that they had to adjust their line to accommodate for that starter being gone. And Chris Long took a total advantage of it. Ran around the corner on him. Hit Jared Goff, made him fumble. The Philadelphia Eagles picked it up.
I have a violin over here. I wish you guys could really see me live right now. I have a little miniature violin.
Then Jake Elliott finally takes the lead with the field goal. So it was a great win for the Eagles. Both teams played well. My Rams did play pretty well. Could have executed a little bit more, but a better team won.
I would have to say now that was probably up there for the game of the week besides the Baltimore and Pittsburgh game. That was a really entertaining game. I mean, even though the Rams lose this game, if you know what could have happened for you guys if you'd have won this game, right now you guys would have been the number 1 seed in the NFC because you would have beaten the Saints, who's a division leader at the moment. You would have already beaten Minnesota, who's a division leader. No, did you beat Minnesota? Yeah. You would have beaten Minnesota, and then you would have beat Philly. Potentially, all these teams you would have to face in the playoffs potentially, and you would have been number 1 right now.
Hey, thanks for reminding me.
And I'm sorry to bring that up, but I mean, what they need to do is just build off of this, and not let it be the end of the world for them. Yeah. I mean, they still have a great chance in the NFC to make it. far. I ain't gonna go crazy and say Super Bowl, but we never know, especially giving the situation with the potential Super Bowl favorites over there, which with Philadelphia.
Yeah, I feel so bad about that.
Yeah, I really feel so bad about him. Now the NFC's door is wide open for anybody at this point.
I mean, shout outs to Nick Foles, because also towards the end, he made a very excellent pass to get the first down to, I forgot who he threw it to. Great catch by him as well, but it was also a perfect pass by Nick Foles to keep the drive going.
And then it's good to have a backup who's been with that franchise, who's been in a starting position to know how to lead the team. So if anybody that you could throw into that system would be Nick Foles.
Yeah, definitely. Because not trying to throw shade on Brett Hundley, but this isn't like going from Aaron Rodgers to Brett Hundley, someone who hasn't been playing, who's kind of pretty much unfamiliar with being in that kind of spotlight and having that kind of role. This is Nick Foles, like you said, someone who's been there, who's been on the team, and actually been playing good football with the Eagles.
He went to the Rams for a little while, didn't he?
Yep, he was.
And then somehow he ended back up in Philly. But I mean, it's good for them to have somebody that they can. Now I don't know. I'm not gonna say he's gonna lead them to the Super Bowl.
No,
I mean he started in the playoffs. So I mean, a couple of years ago they lost to the Saints a few years back, but. I mean, all is not lost in Philadelphia.
It isn't, but I feel now, whenever they lose, whenever they lose, I don't, like you said, I agree. I don't feel like this is going to give them a Super Bowl push with Nick Foles. Now, no matter how successful they are in the rest of the season, the hanging question is going to be how much better they could have been if Carson Wentz.
It's kind of like the situation with the Raiders, even a couple years ago with Derek Carr. Even though they weren't 11-2 or 10-2.
Right.
They weren't dominating everybody, but everybody felt like they were a team to be, hey, let's watch out for them. They could very well shock the world.
Yeah. Pretty
much. And we did understand that Carson Wentz did go undergo surgery this week, and it went well. So right now he's just in recovery status at this point.
Okay. So the next game, like you said, the other game of the night, Baltimore Ravens going into Pittsburgh, the terrible towels, and taking on the Steelers with the Killer Bees, Big Ben, Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown, and Chris Boswell. I like Boswell. Because it's his real name. I'm sorry, I said it wrong, definitely. But they managed to edge out a win, 39-38.
No, that wasn't an edge out. No, you got to give that game more credit than that.
Wasn't it?
They edged it out.
Technically, I'm not saying the quality. I'm not saying the quality of the game, but I'm saying the Pittsburgh itself edged out a win. Like they did,
but they were up 14 to start the game too. And then Baltimore was able to. I think they outscored them 30-something to 6, 36-6, or something like that.
They went on a 14. They went 14-13 in the second quarter, and then 17-0 in the third.
Mm-hmm.
So
and then
Steelers rallied 19 back at the end. Yeah. Which what I always say, the Steelers are the most uncoordinated success team.
But my thing is, they're not world beaters. Their record doesn't indicate that they're 11-2 right now,
and they're trash.
But they really don't dominate a lot of people. I mean, this is a team that we saw the Jaguars go up in there and just blow this team out. And it seems like the last 4 or 5 weeks, the last month of the season, they've been barely escaping with victories.
Listen.
They've relying on Boswell. I mean, I know they struggled with Indianapolis, with the Colts. They struggled with the Detroit Lions. They barely got past them. They barely got past the Green Bay Packers. They barely got past Baltimore. So it's a lot of games mixed in there where they have just squeaked out a win and got by.
Yeah, definitely, man. And I'm going to say this, just about the Steelers. Now, shout out to Ben Roethlisberger because he did throw for 500 yards, which is phenomenal, and 2 touchdowns. But out of the top 4 teams right now, they are the top in the AFC, 11-2. On the NFC, you got Philly 11-2, and number 2 in AFC is the Patriots. Number 2 in the NFC is the Vikings. Mm-hmm. They are the worst of those 4 teams. The Steelers. Just my opinion.
I'm just saying of how they're playing. Now, we do know this team. They're stacked.
They are
at the receiving core, at the running back position. And before Shazier goes down, this defense is really good, too.
If they could play as coordinated as all of them could be at their best points.
But how could you have all of them being at their best all at the same time?
I'm just saying, you can be a good team. Even the Patriots, when they went on there, which I guess would be a bad example because they end up losing the Super Bowl. But when they went on their 18-0 run, everybody was at their best. There was really no missing points. It wasn't like they were scrapping out wins because of their own mistakes. They were a successful, dominant team. Even in the close games, they were still dominant teams. But this team is a team that beats themselves up through most of the game.
Okay.
And then they have to finally just say, all right, now let's go do it. We can't mess up anymore now. Let's really do it. And it's like...
And that's the thing about football, man. It's surviving and advancing. Now, I get everything you're saying.
Yeah.
Don't on paper, the record looks good, but there's a lot of inconsistencies mixed in that. I do agree with you on that. So, because on any given night in the playoffs, that could be a game you could lose. Probably potentially over the last 4 weeks, they could easily be sitting here at 8-5, right, or 9-4, or 7-6, just based off if some of those games go the other way. Like, I really felt Baltimore should have won this game. Yeah. It was in the bag for them. And I know I give Flacco a hard way to go. Don't trust Flacco is what I always say. But I really thought he would pull it out at the end.
Yeah.
Because he's got one of the strongest arms in the league. But, for being to go over 500 yards, to have to do all that just to win by one. And a lot of people say going into this game versus New England this week, which is going to be the game that's going to determine who's going to get the home field or whatnot for the playoffs and the 1 seed. And I know New England just lost to Miami. Mm-hmm. But I still think, hey, I don't feel bad going into this game. That's just me. But we'll get into New England's game in a second. But as back to the Steelers, I just feel like they have some primetime players who can make big plays. They got Antonio Brown, hands down, the best receiver in the league. And he can explode at any moment.
Yeah.
But at this point, it's just like, do you have to do that every game to win?
And that's it. That's the thing with them. They constantly have to do something like this. Get
extraordinary that they even just sneak out.
Exactly.
With a 2-point or 3-point win. And Boswell, give it to him. In the clutch moments, he has been money every single time. He's been there. They've called his number. He's gone out there, kicked the ball, pushed him through to victory.
Yeah. So, good win. The numbers won't lie. They're 11-2, but just...
the Bengals had them beat. Green Bay had them beat. The Colts gave them a tough game.
It's just really bad.
Ravens.
It's just a really bad team for me, man. They just have a lot more. They're going to be in the playoffs. That's without a doubt. But...
it's exciting to watch as a football fan.
Yeah, because they're going to make it close.
Yeah.
They're going to give it up sometime in the middle and then pull it out somehow at the end. But yeah, anyway, last game, Monday Night Football. Surprise. The other biggest surprise of this week, for me at least.
For you.
It wasn't a surprise for you. New England Patriots going down to Florida, Miami, and losing.
You such great. You didn't get to say that much this year, have you?
No.
But wasn't everybody so worried about the Patriots? Oh, their defense is giving up so many yards and so many points.
Y'all were giving up a lot.
We were looking bad in the first half of the season.
Right.
But
yeah, they lost, but they did lose this game 27-20. But go ahead.
You're gonna give me the floor?
Yeah, I'll let you. This is your baby.
This is my baby, and I love my baby. This was not a surprise to me.
Really?
And reason being is being a fan of this team for so many years. Miami has always been that team to always give the Patriots, especially when we go to Miami and play, no matter what time of year it is, but especially like if we had to play them early in the season when it's warmer and hot, first game, second game, third game, fourth game of the season, we almost never win in Miami because it's just always been a tough place for Tom Brady. But I would say this is probably the second toughest place for Tom Brady to play besides Denver. because he struggles in Denver as well. But Miami is also a place where he struggles too. He has a losing record there when he plays there. And like 4 out of the last 5 years in Miami, they've beaten us. And I think 2 of those games, they cost us home field advantage. And in those seasons, we had to go to play Peyton Manning in the AFC Championship game in Denver.
Yeah.
Which we lost both of those AFC Championship games.
Right.
And Denver went to one Super Bowl and laid an egg, and they went on to another one to win. But it wasn't a shocker to me. We didn't have Gronk. I mean, Brady just didn't look like himself. I mean, he's been playing at a high level all season to be 40. So eventually he's going to have a letdown performance. And, Miami actually played well. Jay Cutler played well. He didn't even turn the ball over. He looked really good. And Jay Cutler is notoriously known for turning the ball over, and he did.
3 touchdowns, man.
Yeah, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Jarvis Landry, I think he had 2 touchdowns in the game.
I think so.
Yep. We had a lot of penalties in this game. A lot of bonehead stuff happened for us in this game. Brady had 2 picks in the game. We didn't run the ball that well. We didn't do much of anything well. But the thing about me is, though, if I'm the Steelers at this point, I would not want to play Bill Belichick after a loss.
You always say that.
Because they hardly ever lose 2 in a row. You know he's fixing everything this week. He's throwing everything. He's already the perfectionist as it is. Yeah. But when they lose, you know he's going to be just that much. He's going to go through everything with a fine-tooth comb and just try to straighten everything out. Right. This is a big game against the Steelers. This is for home field. So I wouldn't be surprised if they come out and just
run them over.
Steamroll the Steelers. It wouldn't shock me.
Steam to steel.
And against Tom Brady in those close games.
Yeah.
When you give Brady one more chance to get the ball.
You can't slack up being the Steelers. Like you said, being as uncoordinated and as up and down as the Steelers are, you can't do that against a team like the Patriots.
Mm-hmm. Because you give him a possession with a minute or something to go in the game.
Exactly.
And give him an opportunity to drive down. We've seen it.
Yeah.
But I'm not in panic mode. We're just 10-3, so I mean it's a loss. It's a divisional opponent. Miami's always given us trouble. This is the second time I think in 3 weeks that we played them. When they played in New England, we destroyed them.
Right.
Go to Miami. It's just some things you just can't, some hurdles you just can't get over, and that just seems like it's been a thorn in our side for a couple of years.
And you know, I didn't feel like this was like any bad performance. I feel like this team just randomly had your number. They get intercepted twice by Xavier Howard, by one person twice. They at least, it's like if they haven't prepared for anybody, they really take the time.
And the thing is with the Patriots, man, they're always going to have a target on them because you're always going to get every team's best game.
That's true, man.
So, I mean, I'm not, this week people try to pick, y'all lost to the Dolphins. I'm like, it's nothing because it's what they do.
Right.
They beat us in Miami. What's my team's record and what's your team's record?
10-3.
Okay, thank you.
So that concludes, man, week 14 in the NFL. As like I said, D won this week 9-7, while I was 2 behind, 7-9. But as far as the entire season goes, I'm up to 133-75, and he's right behind at 131-77. So going straight from that, you have to realize before we get into our top 5 that there is NFL action going on right now as we speak. Thursday night football, the Denver Broncos are in Indianapolis taking on the Colts, and starting off the second quarter, the Colts are up 7-0. So with that being said, we're going to hit our top 5, and then we're going to give our NFL predictions before rather than at the end. That's what we tend to normally do, but because whenever we do have the days where we do our podcast on Thursdays, we try to do it first so nobody feels as though we're being biased or watching the game and kind of just going with it as it goes along. We are definitely not watching anything. So yeah, we're going to get into our top 5, and I think I will kick off our top 5 because I feel like we're going to get a lot of reaction out of D, Moody, because of my picks. But last
stressed
week,
me out last week when you had the Panthers over the Saints and the Saints beat them twice.
Oh, you're gonna, you're definitely gonna be stressed out this week. So last week, like you said, the stress was because I had starting from the ground up. 5 was the Saints. 4, I had a tie between the Steelers and Panthers, but he persuaded me to take the Panthers out, and I couldn't argue with him that week. At number 3 was my other tie between my boys, my Rams, and the
top
Vikings.
5, man.
Hey, man, listen.
It's not a top 8.
Leave me alone. At number 2 was the New England Patriots, and at number 1 was the Eagles. So, starting from the ground up, number 5. As much as I don't want to, their record allows them to be in here is Pittsburgh Steelers. They're number 5.
Wow.
Number 5. Like I said, and it's this for me is not because of their record, because like I said, they're number 1 in the AFC. It's more so because of how sloppy their performance is for me. And when they do play great football, it's because they've already played enough sloppy football that for them to have to play catch up. And that to me is horrible for me. And I can't get over that and to appreciate them being number 1 in the AFC. And the thing is
about them, just to kind of add to what you're saying, is like you kind of, when they have to do these heroic comebacks, it makes you take away why they were in that spot to begin with. Exactly. Like, how did y'all end up in the position to have to do all that to win? Because the only thing you're worried about is, they came back from so-and-so. Ben Roethlisberger threw 500 yards, but nobody's talking about what they did to be in that position.
Because it's not like a team is totally dominating them. It's like, they blew a couple of passes. He overlooking somebody. It's always some mishap that they get themselves in the hole from that they dig out.
It's good that they can be able to pull themselves out of those holes, but I guess I'm playing devil's advocate.
No, but you're right. Because like I said, that makes them the best team in the AFC statistically.
And that can help them play all the time.
We'll have to see, man. Number 4. Number 4 is the tie. It's the only tie I have. It's the only tie. My number 4 is between my LA Rams. Because even though they did lose this game, I feel like it didn't diminish their quality. But it did have to go down for me because they lost. And tied with them because they had a really great win this past week, is the Carolina Panthers.
I can kind of sort of live with that this week.
Okay.
I mean, I would probably have Pittsburgh up there higher.
Nope.
I really think Pittsburgh. I just don't agree with them being at 5. But
I got you. So that's my number 4. At number 3, the team the Panthers beat, the Minnesota Vikings. They're my number 3 team. This was another game where I feel like even though both teams, like theirs had to be a winner, had to be a loser, I feel like both teams are still a good team. Nobody really got diminished, and this would be the only time that you see me keep a person at this. No, I've done that before. Even though they lost, they stayed at the same spot. So my Vikings stayed at 3 this week. At number 2, even in losing, number 2, New England Patriots. They remained there, like I said, like how you said you didn't feel bad about this loss to them because there just happens to be a team that gets over on them every now and again. This is one of those teams that just practices specifically to try to beat the Patriots, and that's what happened. So at number 1, which is going to change because unfortunately their top quarterback is out for the rest of the season, and I'm really devastated to hear that because I really want to see how far they can go, is the Philly Eagles now without Carson Wentz. But they are at number 1 because they did win this week. Okay. So that's my top 5.
I mean, that wasn't too bad of a top. Okay. I mean, the only thing is...
you don't like the Steelers' position.
The Steelers' position and Carolina being there. And I guess we're going to segue into my top 5. My top 5 this week, starting off at number 5. I still kept the New Orleans Saints there. Okay. Right at 5. I mean, because you put Carolina in over them, and they've beaten Carolina twice. You keep losing sight of that. Yeah. You just will not accept the fact that the Saints have beaten the Panthers twice.
I understand.
So if you're going to have the Panthers in the top 5, the Saints need to be a little bit ahead of them.
I guess so.
I mean, and that's why I have number 4 where I have them, which is your LA Rams, because they did well. they beat the Saints, right? And they're
Right.
they're number
Right.
4. I have the Rams there. I thought they put up a really good performance against the Eagles. That was probably one of the better games of the season thus far.
Yeah.
I would say that I think the Rams kind of shot themselves in the foot a couple times down the stretch of that
Definitely.
game with some kind of penalties and stuff like that kind of took them out of range to take the lead there late. But it was just a battle. And sometimes, the other team makes one more play than you do to seal the win. So apparently that one play came at the end of the game for the Eagles there. But
curse you, Chris Long.
number 3 for me. Minnesota Vikings 10-3. I still think even though they lost this game, ends their long game winning streak. As I said earlier, I mean every streak has an end. It's best to go ahead and try to lose while you still can,
Exactly.
as opposed to having the pressure of going into the playoffs with a win streak, and then added pressure for this franchise because they're the host city for the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And never in NFL history has the host city, that team that's hosting the Super Bowl,
That'll be interesting, man.
have ever made it.
It'll be interesting.
So they have added pressure on top of that.
Can they break history?
Can they make history to make the Super Bowl a home game for you?
Starting to sound like a WWE story.
I don't think they. I don't think.
I don't think so either.
I don't think they're gonna make it,
I don't
but
think so either.
it could very well. I mean, with the like I said, the NFC is wide open right now. So
Yeah, definitely.
anything can happen.
with the Eagles now.
Yeah, and that's what brings me to number 2. The Philadelphia Eagles. It's a very sad situation that happened with Carson Wentz.
Right.
I mean, just at the point of where he had this team and what he's done for this franchise since he's been there. He's their franchise guy. And to go down at this stage of the season, man, it's unfortunate, but it's football, man. Injuries happen. Anything can happen on any given Sunday, Monday, Thursday, Saturday, whatever days they decide to play.
Right.
And it's just one of those situations. I still think they're still in a good position given that they have a seasoned person at quarterback in Carson Wentz. But I have them at number 2 this week. And number 1.
Just by the way you're looking at me, I know who number 1 is.
Do you?
I think so.
Actually, at number 1,
Oh no, I know.
there's a tie.
Yep.
Because there's a football game this weekend
these.
at Heinz Field,
Yeah.
4:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, to determine who's going to have home field advantage in the AFC playoffs. And that football game is between the defending, reigning, undisputed NFL Super Bowl champions, the New England Patriots, taking on Pittsburgh Steelers,
The pits.
who just continue to
They keep themselves in the pits.
squirm out of this win, and I squirm my way out of this situation. But now you got to play some foosball this week, Pittsburgh.
Got to play it now, boy.
And foosball's the devil.
Oh man!
But getting back on a serious note, Patriots and Steelers, I got to put them at a tie because whoever wins this game will hands down be the number 1 team in the NFL.
That is the truth, man.
And it's going to be a good game. Now, in his career, Tom Brady is 10-2
Against the Steelers
versus the Steelers. So he's
Yeah.
had some great success. And do you know the team that he has the highest passer rating against in his career? Who's that team is against?
No, who?
It's the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Ha!
So he typically has really
shows
great
out.
games against the Steelers. Not a lot of quarterbacks in NFL history can say that.
Right.
And to have that type of record against a team like Pittsburgh or a franchise like Pittsburgh. So, I mean, this is going to be a really good game. But I have a tie at 1 this week with New England at 10-3 and Pittsburgh at 11-2.
And you putting a tie at number 1.
I mean, because it's like this.
The hype, the
it's
moment
balance.
right
It's
now.
the hype. It is balance. And you got, like, you think about it. You look at probably the Super Bowl of the last 15, 16 years. Most of those Super Bowls has either had Ben Roethlisberger or Tom Brady in those Super Bowls.
Yeah.
They have combined 7 Super Bowls between them. This is a rematch of last year's AFC Championship game.
7 Super Bowls. Doesn't Tom Brady have like
He's got 5.
Exactly.
And Ben has 2. Ben's been to 3-1-2. The first one I really don't try to count for him because he really didn't do much in that game. Hines Ward threw a touchdown pass in the first Super Bowl. Big Ben had the worst passer rating in Super Bowl era in that game. So, but he's still but now the second one against the Cardinals, he won that one because that's at the end. That's when Santonio Holmes had the little toe drag.
Yeah.
So I give him that one, and then Aaron Rodgers got him in that other one.
Yeah.
But 1-2, New England and Pittsburgh.
1-2. All right.
Tied at 1.
Tied at 1. Right. Right. So I guess that's what our top 5 looks like right now. As we were saying, man, between the Patriots and Steelers, they're right now at 1-2 in the AFC. Pittsburgh number 1, Patriots at number 2, Jacksonville Jaguars are at number 3, and the Kansas City Chiefs are holding on.
They ain't holding their own. They holding on.
They're holding on, definitely. And they have the Titans and the Bills right there, trying to get their way and scratch their way into that. Both of them in the bubble, and then we have the Ravens and the LA Chargers, trying to find a way inside. Yep. And on the NFC picture, we got Philly, who might be in trouble now because of Carson Wentz going down. Number 1, the Vikings. Number 2, Rams at 3, Saints at 4. Carolina and then Atlanta are in the bubble, trying to make their way into the playoffs. And Seattle and the Lions, Matthew Stafford, they're fighting to see if they can last another day.
Don't even do it. In the Lions,
the Lions, man. I'm trying to tell you. So, like we said, there is NFL action going on right now. The score remains right now: Indianapolis Colts 7, the Denver Broncos at 0. So, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and kick off our NFL Week 15 predictions to see who is going to be Guru of the Week. And since this is Thursday night, I mean, who do you have thinking that's going to come out? Like we said, the Colts are already up 7-0.
And I made my pick prior to this. I usually make my picks on Tuesday through ESPN's website.
Sounds good.
It's called Pigskin Pick'em. And as you can see here, I already had choose before the game even started.
Okay.
The Broncos to win. This game versus the Colts. I just think Denver's defense can give Mr. Jacoby Brissett some problems. Neither one of these teams are really that good, so it really doesn't matter to me who wins. But just for the sake of picking, I think, Denver's just had a struggle of a season, so has Indy. I mean, I thought Indianapolis' season could have been a whole lot better if Andrew Luck, I thought he was actually going to play this year, but he's not. So it's like they pretty much just gave away the year, because of that. So I went with Denver to win.
I'm going Indianapolis only because
they're up by 7 right now.
Nope,
I'm just kidding.
No, no, and that's why I was trying to make sure I could, have a reason outside of just what the score says right now. But in between their last game, to say that the Bills are a pretty decent team, that they did score and the Jets blew out Denver. I mean, usually teams
Denver blew the Jets out.
Was it?
You said the Jets blew out Denver. Denver blew the Jets out.
Oh, yeah, that is right. So, yeah, I read it wrong.
I know.
But I went Indianapolis then. So, if I would have read it right, I would have went with Denver because in my mind, when I skimmed back just now, I was like, oh, okay, Denver lost to the Jets. They got shut out. They're not going to win this game. So, but now I realized that they won. They did shut out, so they should definitely beat the Colts.
Didn't you say they still have the best defense?
They did. That's what they said. That's what ESPN said. So, but hey, all right. So unfortunately, I picked the Colts. I'm not going to back out of it. I did it. So what? Next game, we got Saturday football action this week. First one is the Chicago Bears taking on the Detroit Lions. Matthew Stafford, 7-6. Bears 4-9. I'm just going to go ahead and say I'm going with the Lions. D. Moody, who do you have?
I'll go with the Lions.
That's what I'm talking about, man.
The Bears are that tricky team, though, man.
It's Matthew Stafford. It's Matthew.
I know, that's why I said that. I mean, I can very well see the Bears winning this game.
Anyway.
But But I'm going to go with the Lions for the sake of picking to be on the safe side because I'm only 2 games back. So I'm going to go.
Don't do it for that.
With Detroit to win this.
All right.
We should win this game.
All right.
Now that bad man is back in the lineup,
that's true.
You try to win as much as you can.
Yeah, there you go. Next game for Saturday night, the LA Chargers taking on the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City. Both teams are 7-6. Who do you have?
I went with the LA Chargers.
Okay.
To win this. I just like what this team is doing. They've been streaking here lately. Phillip Rivers is playing some really good football, and the Chiefs have been kind of topsy-turvy, up and down.
Yeah.
You know, I would like to see them try to right the ship, but I think the Chargers are going to win this division.
Division? Possibly. Mm-hmm. As far as this game is considered, I agree with you.
They would have to win this game
to win the division.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, not saying this determines it, but it could very well have a big
I got you.
Bearing on it.
I got what you're saying. But yeah, I agree. I think the Chargers are going to win this game. The Chiefs are an up and down team, and I don't think they're really coordinated enough to take on a high streaking Phillip Rivers right now. So Sunday football starts with the Green Bay Packers and the Carolina Panthers. Who do you have going? Think Brett Hundley could take on the 9-4 Panthers?
It's not Brett Hundley.
Oh yeah, we got.
True. It's Dave.
It's true. I forgot the return of Aaron Rodgers is in Carolina to take on the Panthers. I bet the person who bought those seats are lucky right now because they probably dropped the price because it was like, it's Brett Hundley coming over. Now it's Aaron Rodgers. Now those $50 tickets got you a great seat.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Carolina looked really good last week versus Minnesota.
Yep.
And I don't really know how Aaron Rodgers is going to look in his first game back. I mean, but it's Aaron Rodgers, though.
Yeah.
I really, if anybody's going to put on a show and just blow us away,
it's going to be Aaron Rodgers.
It's that bad man, as Stephen A. likes to say. I'm going to go with the Packers.
I think so, too.
They're my Super Bowl pick. It's still a chance.
There's still a chance.
For my Patriots and the Packers to meet.
That is who you said.
But virtually Green Bay would have to win out.
Yeah.
To get there, and a lot of other stuff has to happen.
Exactly.
I'm going Green Bay.
Okay. I agree with you on this one. I feel like Aaron Rodgers coming back, as long as he's been gone, he should be at a very great percent, if not 100%. So, yeah, I expect some great performance from both sides. I don't feel like it's going to be a blowout, but I do feel like Aaron Rodgers is it's going to be Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Next game, we have the Miami Dolphins coming off a high of beating the Patriots, going into Buffalo to take on the Bills. Bills are 7-6, however, while Miami is just 6-7.
I went with Buffalo.
Going Buffalo.
I think it was a kind of not a flukish win.
It's probably flukish.
Yeah, it could be. But I went with Buffalo just because they've had some games this year where they played some really good football.
Yeah, they looked really well in the beginning of the season.
Yeah, and then they hit a little rough patch, and they went this thing where they benched Tyrod and went back to it. But I think Tyrod is actually out with injury. I want to say he's out, so that's why the other kid is in there. I don't know his name, but I went Buffalo to win this game because they have LaShawn McCoy, and he can be a big difference maker as we saw.
Shady McCoy.
Yeah, Shady. So I went Buffalo just because of that.
I'm kind of in the fence with this. Honestly, I feel like Miami could be probably picking up some steam coming off a good game.
You just said it's flukish.
It is flukish, but I'm saying they can take that momentum though, and just that can drive. Even if it was a fluke for them to beat the Patriots, they can be like, "Oh man, we're on the top right now. We can beat anybody," and then that could very well give them enough momentum to get a 2-win game. 2-game streak. So saying that.
You don't look very confident in your
I'm not confident on either team right now. I think because I'm tired of wasting time, I'm going to go ahead and just take this upset with Miami.
Okay.
I'll take that upset. Next game of the week, we got the Ravens taking on the Browns.
What a great team to play after a gut-wrenching loss that they just had.
Oh, yeah. They're going... Look, I'm going to go ahead and say this. Joe Flacco's going to have a field day. And that's Baltimore.
Now, if we come back here next week and Cleveland won.
Oh my gosh! I will finally say this: the DTF with you. Don't trust Flacco. I will say that if they lose this game.
Okay, we have it. You heard it here first. if the Browns win next week, C. Moody's going to say don't trust Flacco.
Yeah.
I went with Ravens too. Cleveland is just a hot mess right now, and it ain't getting no better.
Nope.
So I'm just going to go with Baltimore for obvious reasons.
Sounds good, man. Houston Texans versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville.
Depending on how Mr. Tom Savage is, I mean, we did see him go through like a concussed. I think he was really concussed in last week's game.
Yeah.
And he went back out there, and they had to pretty much like, hey, dude, you got to see. You can't do it. So I understand the will of wanting to still go out there and play and help your team win, but
it's Jacksonville.
It's Jacksonville, and it's going to be some more big hits in this game. I'm went with Jacksonville.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going Jacksonville on this one.
To win this
just
game.
even with or without Tom Savage, it's Jacksonville.
Yeah.
So Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota 10-3, second best team in the NFC. I'm going Minnesota.
Yeah, I went Minnesota too. Cincinnati, that's just another situation that it's time for a change there.
Yeah.
And I think Minnesota's playing really good. They're going to try to bounce back after that tough loss in Carolina. They're at home. So it's always good to come home after a loss to play in front of your home crowd, get the energy going, build some momentum. I think they'll beat Cincy.
Definitely. Next game, we got the New York Jets taking on the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, I'm going with the Saints.
Got to.
Josh McCown, maybe if he would have played, it could have been a kind of a back and forth game because he's been known to put up some big numbers this year. He's put up some numbers, man.
Against the Saints, though?
Yeah.
I'm not saying he can't do it. But
yeah, I thought it'll be a better contested game.
I think
the Saints, this is a runaway for them.
Definitely.
At this point.
Especially if they
probably see Mark Ingram and Kamara go
That's
off.
what I was about to say.
Yeah.
If they can get that running game back going, it's going to be a blowout.
Yep.
Yeah. Definitely. The Philly Eagles, 11-2, best team in the NFC, is going into New York to take on I was going to say resurging, but it's like...
Well, a Ben McAdoomless
Ooh.
New York Giants.
2-11. I think we're both going Philly.
I'm going Philly, but I'm not very confident.
Whoa.
Nick Foles is pretty good. I will give him, he knows how to run this team, but it's always a spoiler out there waiting.
Yeah. Hey, Eli's not a bad quarterback.
Mm-hmm. So we'll have to see by September.
I say not a bad quarterback, like he hasn't won 2 Super Bowls.
Yep.
So either way, yeah, Philly. I think Philly. Whether you're confident or not, I'm pretty confident in it for you. Arizona Cardinals taking on the Washington Redskins.
I went with Redskins.
Really?
Kirk Cousins. I keep picking Cousins. I just want to see him just take off to the next level. Be the quarterback that you're meant to be.
Right.
Be the guy there. They want you as their franchise guy, but you just got to show them that you can do it.
Yeah, that's true.
And this year's kind of been a fall-off year for him. But I think they'll take care of the Cardinals, though.
I can see that. I agree with you. Mm-hmm. I'm going Washington. I wasn't at first, but since, I feel like Washington can beat the Cardinals. I mean, just pretty vaguely put, I just feel like they can win this game.
But the Cardinals did just beat a pretty good team in Tennessee, though.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with the Redskins. My LA Rams taking on Seattle Seahawks, and we need this win.
This is gonna be a very interesting game,
and I am going with LA Rams.
Who did I go with in this game?
You better go with.
I actually chose the Seahawks. I feel like the Seahawks.
We will no longer be having sports moods. We have.
I just think the Seahawks. They're just that team. When you think they're gonna win, they lose, and when you think they're gonna lose, they win.
I respect.
And they're at home
because they have
it's
Russell.
Tough, and Russell is Mr. Elusive.
I respect that. I respect your decision.
Mr. The Scrambler. You know how Gotham the Riddler? This is the Scrambler. Right here.
Okay.
I just got it. I mean, and then given the fact of how they lost to Jacksonville, and this defense probably going to be kind of amped up after everybody's been talking trash about how they acted last week. So
that's true.
Mr. Jared Goff could be in some trouble. I still think it's going to be a good game, and the Rams can still win it. This is pivotal for the division, though.
Exactly. So
next
game we have your game of the week: New England Patriots going into Pittsburgh, take on an 11-2, the best. Well, pretty much makes the best team, like you said, in the league right here between the Patriots and the Steelers. Who do you have? I want to pick the Steelers just because you went with Seahawks. That's what I wanted.
I got to go with Tom, man, and Bill.
Of course
like I said, I wouldn't want to face them after a loss. I just wouldn't. And then it's like how the Steelers, I mean, it's 11-2. You are what your record says you are. But to me, I just think it's just a lot of narrow victories, and you just can't play a team like New England that way. Can't make a lot of mistakes early or under-execute early and expect that you're just going to come back on a New England team like that.
I'm going to just be honest with you. I'm picking the Steelers just because you picked the Seahawks.
That's fine. Thank you for giving me the lead back.
Oh,
right there.
Ooh,
that's the one.
That's gonna be the one, huh?
That's the one that's gonna put me ahead.
Let's go, horrible Steelers.
Hey, I'll be back in the lead next week.
I hear you. Hey, we got one league week left. This adds a lot of tension to see who's gonna win it all.
Yep.
Tennessee Titans going into San Fran to take on the 49ers. I'm going. Ooh, Jimmy Garoppolo's been playing great football.
No.
Ooh.
You wanted to whisper his stats out early. Jimmy Garoppolo's playing great.
No, I was whispering who he came from just because you had to make it such a statement.
Well, we all have a start, don't we? We all come from somewhere. You can't forget where you came from.
I guess. You could forget it in New England, though.
So you said the Niners versus the who?
Titans.
I took Titans. I went against Jimmy G. I think Marcus Mariota will bounce back.
Yeah, this will be the game. He has a really good one.
He did sprain his knee last week, though, so I don't know if he's fully 100%. But when is Marcus Mariota 100%?
He's a tough Samoan there.
He's tough.
So, last game was Sunday night. We got the Cowboys and the Raiders. It's going to be a good old-fashioned fight.
Not really. I'm not even really.
Nah, Dallas is going to win this one.
I picked Dallas to win this game too, but very well I think Oakland can win. But I went with Dallas for the sake of picking. Yeah.
Monday Night Football. Atlanta Falcons taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa Bay. We see what happens when a team comes down to Florida thinking that they're going to be the better team. Who's going to pull it out?
I like to jab you through there.
What happened?
The team that comes down to Florida.
Oh, man. I feel like...
I think Falcons win this game, man.
Yeah. It's too
the Bucs are just... Jameis is trying to play well, man, despite the situation. He still tries to go out there and make it tough. We're not going to be this pushover team.
Right.
So, I'm going with Falcons.
Okay, yeah, I'm going Falcons as well. So, that rounds up really our entire football segment in the NFL. Like we said, as of right now, because of pretty great week for D. Moody coming out 2 ahead, he's only 2 behind as far as the entire league of entire season of picks, 131-77, while I see Moody is just beating him by 2, 133-75. So, that is it for the NFL this week. And as we are going on, the Colts have added to their league. It is now 10-0 as they're at the 2-minute warning of the second quarter, leading into halftime. So, that's what that is. Is there any last words?
I don't. Just ready for this big New England Pittsburgh game, and
I know
get to see how these teams make their playoff push. See who's going to make it, who's going to be left out in the cold.
Sounds good, man. When we come back, we're going to get into some good old WWE wrestling. We got Monday Night Raw going on, and then Smackdown Live. It is their go-home show because Sunday is their exclusive pay-per-view Clash of Champions. We are Sports Moves, 2 Moodies,
1 Duty.
Sports. We'll be right back. What is going on, guys? We are back. Sports Moves, 2 Moodies,
1 Duty.
Sports. We just knocked out everything with NFL, so we are done and moving forward into WWE. Starting off with Monday Night Raw. As we know, the only real champion on Monday Night Raw is the Intercontinental Champion. That was a good one.
In the name of Paul Heyman, I will not let you speak that blasphemy upon this podcast.
The only champion that needs to be talked about is Roman Reigns, Intercontinental Champion, because we have no actual
there's a champion.
Universal
he
champion.
He doesn't have to be there.
No, he needs to be there, which is horrible booking for my half.
Pay-per-view, pay-per-visit, PPV.
Trash. Now think about this, and I was thinking about this earlier today, is that if we're actually being smart as far as the fans, and we're recognizing that, hey, these wrestlers go not only on the main show on TV, but they do the live shows throughout the week. So every day they're wrestling. And then we allow one person to come once a month and decide to just...
Not the only person that does that.
Let me finish. It's the only champion that does that. So one person...
have to be...
One champion that does that and lets him come once a month to just fight somebody. It's really taken away from who he is, because if you're really looking at it from a smart perspective, because all he's doing is picking at the bones of people who's been wrestling Monday through Sunday, but then you come one day out of a month and then just fight somebody like you're fighting somebody.
But I still could make that argument that he could have ring rust because he's not wrestling as much as
because he could be training.
But he's training, but he's not physically in the ring with anybody. So that could go both ways.
I don't like that.
It can go both ways. So I have a counter argument for what you're saying. Your argument is that, okay, these guys are wrestling the live shows, the recorded shows, they're wrestling all week long. Mm-hmm. And he only wrestles, never wrestles on Raw. He only makes an appearance on Raw where he may get into a physical confrontation with somebody depending on where the storyline is going. The only time he wrestles is at the pay-per-view.
So once every 3 months.
Whatever. So it could be a thing of ring rust. So you could say,
no, man, that's a cop out for Brock. Then you say some ring rust.
I'm just saying. You say that these guys, it's an unfair advantage because he's wrestling guys that's wrestling all the time. And they're already beat up and battered from being in competition more than he is. So whenever he wrestles once a month or once every 2 months or whenever it is, he's not wrestling that often as these guys, so he could potentially have ring rust. That's the counter argument. I'm just saying. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just saying in the sake of arguing what you're saying.
And I'm saying
I could use that as a rebuttal.
And I'm saying I don't like your rebuttal.
Well, it doesn't matter if you don't have to. It's still a legit rebuttal.
All right. I guess.
You get what I'm saying?
I guess, man.
That's just like full time versus part time.
I just don't like it, man. Why are you
as
a
part
champion
timer? I could come
show?
to work. What did John Cena tell Roman Reigns? As I do this better as part time than you do full time. It's just like at work. If I'm a part timer, I come to work and sell more than you, and you're there every day of the week.
But you would. I was about to get real technical about our actual retail jobs.
I got you.
But I was about to say you wouldn't want your active manager to be there once every 3 months, but then comes and just makes all these rules, starts saying all these laws that should have been done and was missing, and you're not there to actually help execute it, but then just leaves another 3 months and comes back. Dun, 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 dun. Where's the sales? Like,
Leslie, I would actually kind of like that.
Really?
Because you're not micromanaging me.
Really?
Give me a chance to show you what I can do while you're gone. And then when you come back, oh, look at these numbers. They look good. Or if they trash it, then, of course, okay, what were y'all doing while I was gone? I don't like nobody hovering over me like when it comes to work.
I mean, me neither.
I mean, at the point, I'm in a position to not knocking.
I mean, you're right.
To hover, so I'm
neither.
in that position where I have to do that to people. But I don't like to be micromanaging. My leadership style is not to micromanage my people. It's to give them an opportunity to do things on their own, make a mistake, do something, and then we just talk about it.
But a leader is supposed to be at least there to be an example, and that's what you're doing. You're a great leader.
Yeah.
But a leader can't be there if they're not. They can't be a leader if they're not there.
Brock is a leader.
No, he is not.
Leader. He's the leader.
No.
And the mayor.
No.
Suplex
City. No.
He has a huge city to run, okay?
No.
But he's not.
No.
I really wish y'all could see Steve Moody right now. He's literally like doing his arms in the air like, no.
The Daniel Bryan knows.
He has a city to run, man. Suplex City is a tough city to run.
That
man.
town should be trash.
It's not trash.
It should be wreckage.
I still see some rubble left over from that house that AJ Styles built. He tore that house down.
Got a for sale sign now.
Yeah.
So Monday Night Raw. I mean, I can't say much on it, but it had good matches. I'll say that much.
I would say there's probably one of the better layout of matches that we've seen in a while. We've seen some really top tier performers interact with one another.
Even though it's reoccurring, like you said, we saw Sheamus and Seth Rollins, which even though, like you said, as reoccurring as it is still good to see. It's two heavyweights.
But from what I heard, they're just building to what was going on tonight with the tribute to the troops, because they were doing the 6-man thing tonight with Joe.
Oh, so they
in the bar.
Is it on TV tonight?
It's the WWE Holiday Week.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
So it's on USA right now.
Yeah, it is. It should be going off by now.
Oh, and I didn't record it. Dang, I'm gonna miss that. I didn't know. All right, so that sucks. Thanks.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I didn't record it either. If you feel.
What time did it start? 8:00? Is it just an hour?
Because this is the WWE week when they had Raw, Monday, Smackdown, and they actually had NXT live on USA last night for the first time ever on televised TV, not on the network. And then you had tonight the tribute to the troops, where they were going to do the 6-man with Joe
and the
Bar versus the Shield. They can go back and look at it later on the network. They probably have it on the network.
They should have it on the network.
They probably have it uploaded on there.
Probably
by it being coded tribute to the troops, so they'll probably allow you to go back and watch it. Yeah, but I think that's what it was building up. They just wanted to have these one-on-one singles matches with, Joe and Ambrose, Cesaro and Reigns, which was really a great match. If you didn't see that match this week, please go back on the network, or if you recorded it, or if you missed it, wherever outlet you can find it. That was a really good match between
two really good wrestlers,
by Reigns and Cesaro. But Cesaro stole the show, and I really got to give him some credit on how well he wrestled that match. He was in control of the match pretty much the entire match. He really took it to Roman. I don't know if Roman sold it very well.
Oh, yeah.
But
he's a great wrestler.
Usually you love to try to give him that. I just don't look at Roman Reigns as a great
He's
wrestler.
a great wrestler.
When I think of a great wrestler, you know who I think of?
Who?
I think of Shawn Michaels. He's a great wrestler.
Had one move.
No, he didn't. I mean, he had one finisher, yeah.
Tell me.
Chan music.
List his skill set. List his move set.
Shawn Michaels was... I have to do that?
He had an elbow.
Michaels.
Had an elbow. He had a sharpshooter.
The elbow. He did the moonsault off the top rope.
Once in a while.
Do you see how he reverse moves and like when they
no, we're not talking about reversing moves.
That's wrestling. I'm not saying just offense. Wrestling is not always offense. Right. What you can do is also what you can counter. What you can counter and the amount of pain that you can take and still will yourself to victory.
You know how many times Roman counters stuff and turns
because they try to build him up as this strong entity that
because he is.
He's not.
Because he is.
He's not.
Are you serious?
He's not a good wrestler, man.
Roman Reigns is a great wrestler.
Most of the time, people have to drive Roman to have a great match. He can never bring a great match to someone else. Roman has to have another person in the ring with him to drive him to a great match.
He's selling people over. So when he wins, it's like, oh,
no,
now
because
the big
they drove
dog
him to a great match. When he had the matches with AJ Styles, only thing I walked away remembering that match, it just looked like Roman survived because AJ did some amazing things in that match.
He's a good seller.
When he fought, who was it that he fought that drove him to a great match? Even the matches with Jason Jordan. Jason Jordan drove him to a great match.
No, he's a good seller. He's a good seller.
Seller of what?
Of wrestlers. What you mean? And here's something that when I was watching this week, Wrestle Talk TV, and they made a really great point. Is how, and it was John Cena that made the point. They actually had a chance to interview John Cena, which I thought was awesome because they're not like a well-known podcast people, but when John Cena talked about Roman Reigns, he talked about the fact of how he's kind of in the mix, kind of like how John Cena's been trying to be the person to, even though the crowd is pushing you to be heel by cheering and booing, you still have to stick to being a whatever kind of person you are. But besides that, he talked about the WrestleMania between Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. And before that match, Roman Reigns was already hated. Nobody really liked Roman Reigns. It was already him being set up to lose to Brock Lesnar. But they've sold the story of Roman Reigns toughing it out so long that everybody was genuinely cheering Roman Reigns towards the end of that match. And you're mad about that. Because Roman Reigns is a good wrestler.
That's right. He's a good wrestler, but he's not a great wrestler.
He's a great wrestler.
No, you said it right.
Yeah, he's a great wrestler.
What I tell you earlier. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks, and you said he's...
But I've been saying a great wrestler all the time. I just was saying...
But when you really want to drive your point home, you said he's a
better wrestler than most.
I can name a couple that's better than him right now.
What's your top 5 wrestlers right now? I'm sorry, we're supposed to be doing Monday Night Raw.
Okay.
Because we're going to finish this, but I want to go ahead and get this Monday Night Raw.
Okay, yeah.
Samoa Joe, Dean Ambrose, Jason Jordan watching because Jason Jordan's supposed to be in this mix trying to get in between the Samoa Joe and Roman Reigns thing. So he's watching as Samoa Joe wins with a Coquina clutch.
Can name so many people better than Roman right now.
Seth Rollins beats Sheamus with his knee, which doesn't even have a finisher, but still good, still part of the Shield. Like he said, Roman Reigns maintains his Intercontinental Championship against Cesaro. The Absolution comes in and they have a little spat with Asuka, which leads to the entire women's division coming out to fight them off. What else happened? There's some kind of random love interest going on between Enzo Amore and Nia Jax, which from what Wrestle Talk TV talks about is basically saying they want to kind of keep Nia Jax away from Absolution so that it'll be more impactful when they do cross paths, which was weird considering that Nia Jax,
she came down,
as you told me, she came down to be a part of the women's division, knocking, getting them out of the ring. I don't know what else happened. What else went on in this?
Also, we have seen finally. Now I'm gonna go ahead and do it.
Okay.
Matt Hardy is now.
Oh yeah, Matt Hardy is fully woken. He kind of teased it a little bit more last week, but now he's like full force, full attire and everything woken, and probably is having one of the better feuds going on now with his feud between Bray Wyatt. Both of them, which is funny because when Matt Hardy, before he came to WWE, Wrestle Talk showed that there was a tweet basically saying he was targeting, basically calling out Bray Wyatt and Vince McMahon. And Bray was like, you know where to find me. And now he went back onto Twitter and continued that and was like saying, like, after, as you know how he does it in his woken kind of persona, it's like
Wonderful.
he was like, we finally meet, like all this stuff. So I'm glad for that. This is, like I said, probably one of the best storylines that they have going on. Everything else is just kind of more fighting with storyline.
I laugh at it every time I see them. It'll let Bray say his piece, and he's doing his sinister laugh, and then you see Matt.
Yeah, man.
Yes. Well,
This nigga Bray.
But I think that's the best person to partner him with because of their personas, and then also too. I just want to see going forward. Hopefully, they continue to build. But every week, I don't want to see them on the Titantron.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? As
they need to start coming out.
Let me see. Maybe like if Bray's wrestling somebody, maybe Bray's in action and Matt pops up on the screen, or then one week Matt's wrestling somebody and he pops up, or they cross paths in the ring. Like you got to make it epic when they are both in the ring together or in the same place at the same time. You got to know how to build that up the right way.
And you know what? I hope from this they actually can grow factions out of it.
Stop with the faction stuff, man.
It's gotta happen.
It doesn't have to.
Think about it, bro.
The women got that on lock right now. They've already overstayed their welcome with that.
Besides that,
no.
Look, Bray Wyatt, we had an excellent faction with the Wyatt family. Matt Hardy, when he was broken out in the independent form, he had his broken Galaxy. Not only Brother Nero, but he had some other people with him in his broken faction. So if they can bring those factions together and have that, like, just start off being it one-on-one.
Who would join Bray right now?
I don't know.
Because you got what do you call their name? The Bludgeon Brothers on SmackDown. Braun is not going to lower himself to be with Bray anymore.
I mean, this is to be a perfect time to start adding new people to the fold.
Like, you got to have worthy people that's believable.
I say Bo Dallas.
Yeah, because they're actually brothers.
Exactly.
I can see.
That's really the only reason. Like, Bray finally talks to him.
Elias looks like he can be like the dark.
I would rather Elias. I feel like I guess Elias
Bo
can
and
go.
Elias would be the only two I really can see.
Talking about for Wyatt or
like,
for Broken?
For Wyatt, just the long hair.
I mean, that could be Broken too, though. I would see. I don't know.
Either way,
he can go either way. I can't say I would see him either one, but
Elias is a loner.
Yeah. Who else? But either way, all right. And the downside of Monday Night Raw is what I've heard is they put Finn Balor in a very competitive match against the Miztourage, specifically Curtis Axel, with them attacking him beforehand and him surviving and beating him in a great match. And which is good for the fact that it shows that Finn can put off a good match with anybody. But for the bad side, it's showing that booking really only sees him qualified enough to do mid-card, even less than really jobber matches, because before that, Curtis Axel wasn't wrestling for...
Because his so-called Nick was, obviously we know that was a fluke, but...
Yeah.
But my thing is with Finn Balor, and he's one of my favorite ones that's out there right now, if not my favorite.
And with your top five, I didn't mean for you to say top five better than Roman. I mean, like, who's your top five in general? Now, if it doesn't involve Roman...
You didn't say better than Roman.
Oh, I thought you were. I thought you was
doing basically better than Roman right now, as of right now.
Oh, that's pretty disrespectful.
My top five now, as of right now, top five wise, like in history.
No, not history, just current.
Just current right now, and all these five people, I think, in terms of skill set in the ring, is better than Roman.
Now, if you could think
this is just going off skill set. Now.
And if you could think of top five in history right now,
listen,
go ahead.
Linda. You
Linda. All right.
So. Top five in terms of skill set. And you can't argue. I dare you to try to argue these people right now. Number 5. Cesaro.
Ooh, okay.
Number 4. Dolph Ziggler. Number 3. Dolph Ziggler can wrestle.
He is a great wrestler.
Not tell me Dolph Ziggler cannot
but he's not. As in the great words of Vince McMahon, he's not over anymore.
Screw your over. He can wrestle. We're just
he's a great wrestler.
We're just talking about wrestling right now.
I mean, okay, I guess I should have put overall like a complete package.
Started now
because I can think of 5 better tactical wrestlers than Roman, definitely.
Yeah,
but go ahead and finish your 5.
Number 3.
Not Shinsuke.
Shinsuke.
Nakamura.
His skill set. I mean, I'm just saying. Number 2.
Glorious?
Nope.
Oh, Finn Balor.
Finn Balor.
Right.
And number 1, AJ Styles.
That's my number 1, AJ Styles.
Not right. Tell me now, who will drive you to a better match? Roman or one of these 5 people that I just named? Roman is good. Like I said, I'm not taking anything away from Roman.
I wouldn't put Dolph Ziggler in that 5.
Dolph Ziggler can wrestle.
Just because
I'm talking about right now. Like who we have right now. I mean,
I wouldn't put him in right as of where he's at right now. I wouldn't put Dolph.
I mean, just because he doesn't really get the opportunity to really wrestle as much anymore because they don't really drive him in main.
Exactly. That's the only thing I can go by right now is what they want.
Oh, well, you want to? You saying like who's relevant? I mean, I could take Finn off because he's not really relevant.
I'm not trying to say that, but I'm just trying to say in more overall. Like I like 4 of your 5. I like all of your picks overall, except Dolph. And I hate to say that because even on WWE, like when I used to play 2K17 last year, I would pick Dolph Ziggler over anybody just because I liked his wrestling.
Because he's got a lot of moves.
Exactly, but I can't do it right now.
I think he would drive Roman to a great match.
But and then
Roman would win, but he would drive Roman to a great match. And then
half of Dolph's best matches is just him kind of really what they made Roman against Brock Lesnar, just a survivalist. That's really
and that's one thing. But he
But how come he can be a great survivalist and look good at it, and then Roman does?
Roman's not really always a survivor though.
But I'm just saying when he did it against Brock Lesnar, can we not give him credit for that?
Against Brock Lesnar, of course, anybody's going to be the underdog.
I'm just saying, but not only did he become a survivalist, he was overcoming it before Seth Rollins came in, and it's like
anybody's going to be an underdog going up against Brock, man.
Right,
Braun Strowman was an underdog going up against Brock, and we see how he dominated.
No, we see how he shouldn't have. If he was, he shouldn't have been.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, skill set wise in the ring, I feel like those. That's just not a top. That's just like randomly pulling from. So I really think. I think even if they were competing in singles, the Usos would wrestle better than Roman. They would drive somebody to a better match than Roman would.
I mean, they have a better skill set.
Yeah,
I won't say they have a better skill set. They have a larger move set.
That's what I'm saying. Now Roman's strength.
There's a lot of great wrestlers that don't have big move sets.
You're right. Strength and power. Roman has it. I love it. But most of the time when I watch Roman's match, you're going to see a Samoan drop. You're going to see the clotheslines in the corner. You're going to see the thing where he double clutches the person and does the little power bomb. You're going to see a drive-by on the outside of the ring. None of these moves blow me away, by the way, either. You're going to see... what else does he do? I mean, that's really pretty much all I can see him doing other than trying like 9 Superman punches and then a spear at the end of the match. That's pretty much all I see from Roman. Roman, he's good in the ring, but I always think you really will see a great match from him when he has another person in the ring that can drive him to a great match. Same thing. I feel the same way about John Cena. Like you can almost predict what John Cena is going to do in a match. As opposed to every wrestler, they do the same moves, but it takes somebody else to drive John Cena to a great match, like an AJ Styles. And that's just all I'm saying. Roman is good. I don't dislike Roman. It's just the fact of I just don't really see him being when I remember Roman, I won't remember Roman for being a great wrestler. I remember him being a great personality. I remember him, overcoming some odds against some big name wrestlers in the business. But I just won't remember him for his wrestling ability, if that makes sense. He'll be remembered, but I won't remember him for his wrestling ability.
The Roman Reigns.
So this has become
Superman
the Roman
punch.
Reigns review.
No,
ladies and
Superman
gentlemen.
punch.
Spear. Double clutch powerbomb. You know he does it every.
The double clutch powerbomb, which I'm glad you said. I wasn't thinking about that. Samoan drop.
And
he has the drive-by.
Okay.
That he does outside the ring.
That's what I said.
5. Top 5. That's 5 moves.
But does any of those moves blow you away?
But look. Yeah.
Which one?
All of them.
No.
Especially when he does them at the right time. Yeah. All of them. So, I'll give you this.
I prefer the phenomenal
Listen
form.
to this. Listen to this. Brock Lesnar. The Rock. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Ric Flair. Triple H. All 5 of probably
different era.
No, listen. All 5 of probably these are 5 people out of probably the 10 greatest of all wrestling. Possibly.
I didn't really like Stone Cold's
arguably.
He didn't really. He wasn't a great wrestler.
Give me more than 5. Give me at least 5 of the movesets for any of those 5 people. Give me at least 5. Because I went through them. Brock Lesnar, you got suplex. That's it. Which is preferably just German suplex. The arm bar that he does every now and then. And guess what? An F5. Which he might knee you if we're going to get into
power
striking.
Doesn't have to allow him to have to be like Roman's more athletic. I'm not gonna say more athletic, but Roman can do more than Brock per se in the ring.
The Rock bottom, people's elbow.
Rock bottom, people's elbow, spine buster. The little DDT he does.
I guess you can add.
Yeah, you know the little DDT where he's rolling
at
the DDT. The little fist in the corner with the...
No, not striking. We're not adding the strikes.
Okay.
I guess you can add the strikes if you use the Superman
sharpshooter.
And the sharpshooter. That's that. So we got one person that got 5.
Okay. Stone Cold is a southpaw.
Stunner.
He just
and the Thez press that he jumps on you and does the...
Yeah.
And the mud hole stomp in the corner.
And the little thing he do with the little...
Yeah.
The little drop.
And so that's 3 things.
I mean...
Ric Flair. Figure 4.
Ric Flair, if anybody, that's why they call him the dirtiest player in the game. He's just surviving. Ric Flair, no, I'm not going to overpower
and the little
you.
chop.
I'm not going to jump over the top rope on top of you. Woo! About 90% of the time in Ric Flair's career, in most of his matches, he was getting beat up.
Facts.
And every time he tried to climb to the top rope, somebody grabs him and threw him off the top. Ric Flair knew he's the dirtiest player in the game. I'm going to win by any means necessary. And you can't even throw Flair in there, but he's still considered one of the greatest because of his persona.
Triple H.
Pedigree.
Spine buster.
That running knee. Spine buster. What does Hunter do? Hunter did some stuff now. Sledgehammer.
Right. In the sledgehammer.
So I'm just kidding. But, I mean...
I'm just saying, no, I get that maybe he's not the greatest spectacle at all times, but to say his limited amount of moves is something that doesn't bring him over.
No, I would say he can wrestle. I'm just saying I just won't remember him for his wrestling ability in the ring.
Okay.
And I think that's a fair assumption of Roman.
I guess.
I mean, because like when I think of
he's young,
AJ Styles, I remember AJ. Man, AJ Styles was, like he used to do some crazy stuff in the ring. Yeah. He can wrestle and he can sell. That's the thing. He can sell what's being done to him, and he can wrestle.
Yeah.
Finn Balor, same way.
Yeah.
Shinsuke.
I mean, I'll even say Kevin Owens has a better, has more movesets than Roman Reigns. Definitely,
he does. Kevin Owens, and to be his size,
I really love Kevin Owens.
Kevin Owens can wrestle, man. He really can. To be his size, frog splash off the top rope, to pop.
He's
up
done a
moonsault. I mean, he can wrestle.
Yeah. All right, so now that we got none of that, we pretty much finished Raw, to say the least.
I mean, no, we didn't. We missed the most important part.
What was the most important part?
Kane versus Braun Strowman.
Oh, here.
And actually, they made
Did you say that's the most important part?
I mean, it was the main event. To them, it was. To me, it was. And I could care less because...
Just because it was the main event.
I mean, I really don't even think it deserves the theme music. Because, like, why are we doing this, WWE? Like, Strowman is already over.
Facts.
For one. The Big Show put him over.
Yeah.
We don't need Kane to put him over. I understand the logic of monster versus monster type thing. But what in the blue HE double hockey sticks? How does Kane get to be a number one contendership to to be even qualified for the Universal title?
I really don't know, man.
What did he do?
I really don't.
Other than turn on Brock Lesnar at TLC, and Braun Strowman, and they go back and forth and feud for a couple weeks. Why? Why does he get an opportunity and not Finn Balor? Is Kane more over than Finn Balor? Is that what we saying?
Not
here?
at all. To Vince, he's bigger. That's what matters.
It doesn't. And Vince does like big monsters fighting. Like we saw that in the history of the WWE, like Andre versus Hogan, Hogan versus Warrior. Like he loves the big guy versus the big guy type fight. And a lot of times the quality of those matches suck because of it.
No, man.
But my thing is, like, obviously they battled to a count out in this fight, and now there's no number one contender for the Universal title for the Royal Rumble. So either this is going to go, it's probably going to go to a triple threat, another multi-person match. I just don't. And Kane has never faced Brock Lesnar in his career, so you know they got to put him in the match because they kept reiterating that during the commentary. Kane has never faced Brock Lesnar in his 20-year career. And this year marks the 20th year that Kane's been in.
They're going to give Kane the championship.
No.
I
just don't like this storyline at all. I really think Finn should get his push.
You know what? Maybe that could work. Let Kane steal the championship. That way,
then it means he's got to go to Wrestle. Well, you do have one more pay-per-view before.
Exactly. Brock Lesnar can win it back.
Fastlane, but I don't think they'll do that.
He can win it back. Or this way Kane can win in some kind of dirty way.
I don't even want to see him.
Braun Strowman can win it from him, so they don't have to say they can still give Braun Strowman his title without saying he got it from Brock.
You're veering from the point of
but I'm just
this
saying,
whole calendar year has been about with the WWE. It's about Roman going against Brock.
It is, but I'm saying that Fastlane, Brock will get it back.
If Brock was going to drop the belt, he should have did that at No Mercy.
Should have did that SummerSlam.
That too, or No Mercy.
Yeah. Okay. I just
don't even want. I hate to cut down. I just don't even want to imagine Kane as the champion.
I don't either.
I don't even know why he's back.
Now, I mean, that could be why. Just like they're just giving him a championship, just why he ends his career. Let Braun Strowman end his career by taking the championship. That puts Braun Strowman over way more by not only getting the championship for his first time, completely burying and ending Kane. And then Brock Lesnar comes. What would that mean
to end Kane? Kane is already over.
But I'm just saying.
I mean, not over as in good, but his career is
pretty
much over.
But I'm just saying,
who cares if
that gives
Kane?
But that's just
what does that do?
It's just enough pop for Braun to look stronger, so Brock Lesnar can look even stronger to take it
through a ring. Like you don't get much stronger than that.
But you people forget now.
They don't. I'll never forget that. This dude threw Big Show through a ring, through a cage.
That's true.
I mean, he was over then. He was over before that, though. But I just feel like, why is Kane in this equation? He doesn't deserve to be there. I mean, I know Kane has been he's been serviceable to the WWE. I get it. He's been through the decades where people have gone and come and left and came back. Kane has always been that consistent thing around the WWE for years, and I get it. But he doesn't. I mean, we have so much great talent on this roster that could be in Kane's position right now.
Yeah.
And I really feel like the WWE robs a lot of these guys, a lot of the new guys that's here, because of we want to put older wrestlers or old part-timers in these big match situations. Like last year at WrestleMania, Goldberg and Brock Lesnar. Goldberg was Goldberg was retired. We called him out of retirement pretty much.
It still did more matches on Raw than Brock Lesnar has done this year. Just saying.
Goldberg didn't wrestle on Raw when he was there.
He did way more action on Raw than Brock Lesnar has done.
Anyway, Brock ain't gonna be there every week. Brock ain't gonna wrestle on Raw.
Brock is trash.
That's the agreement the head honcho made with him.
I still say I will. If I gotta take the title off of Brock,
let
me take the title.
You go take it from him.
I will take the title.
Let me call Paul Heyman.
Please call Paul. Tell him I'm tired of his excuse of a champion. Always running away from every opportunity because you think you're such a big shot of a person that you can come when you want to come. It doesn't matter.
He's fought all the relevant people except Finn Balor. That's the only person I can think he's hadn't fought yet. He's fought AJ Styles.
He should fight.
He's fought Samoa Joe. He's fought Braun Strowman.
I would want to see him fight Sheamus and Cesaro.
He's fought Seth Rollins.
I would want to see him fight
Sheamus and Cesaro. That's beneath Brock.
You
If I'm gonna fight, give me some main eventers to fight.
Sheamus and Cesaro. We're
Cesaro
not
more than
gonna
Sheamus.
sit here like we're not gonna sit here like Sheamus hasn't been like Royal Rumble champion.
He's done like King of the Ring.
Exactly. So
he's been heavyweight champion, Intercontinental.
Brock Lesnar's trash, bro. From being a part timer. He's the worst part timer in my life. In my life, he's the worst part timer.
John Cena, not.
At
least when Cena comes back, you rest.
This totally makes me forget about the year The Rock had the championship and was hardly there.
Anywho, we got to Strowman and Kane, and it was a count out. So we want to figure out. It's probably going to lead to a triple threat match at Royal Rumble. So Raw doesn't have an exclusive pay-per-view for the month of December. Their next pay-per-view will be at the Royal Rumble.
We're both
so we got a lot of weeks to build up to the Royal Rumble. So the Royal Rumble match should not be garbage when we've had almost an entire month and a half, maybe 7 to 8 weeks.
Depends on when Brock Lesnar decides to show up.
He'll be on Raw this Monday. Stay tuned. He'll be there.
Oh, will he?
Yeah, they said he'll be there Monday.
To
him and his advocate, Paul Heyman.
To let Paul Heyman talk for 5 minutes and Brock just sit
Brock
there.
doesn't have to talk. He talks sometimes. I just don't understand why you hate him. Vince puts him in the position to do the things.
And Vince
you need to talk. The hatred you have toward Brock, you need to direct that towards Vince because he's the guy that makes that happen. He allows Brock to do it.
But Brock wants that though. You're too big, strong, athletic, powerful. However many things I can say about you to just want to do that, to want to be that type of person.
That's the agreement of the contract.
Pathetic.
It's not. It's a great champion. That's what happened on Raw. Again, obviously, it was a great match between Roman Reigns and Cesaro for the I didn't know it was for the IC title though until I was like halfway through the match and Michael Cole was like, "Oh, this is for the Intercontinental Champion." I was like, "Wow." I was like, Cesaro really? It looked like Cesaro was actually going to win. I said, if they let Cesaro win this, like I really think now we've had Cesaro and Sheamus together for this length of time.
Break it up
it's time to break it up.
Unless Sheamus is actually hurt because they do say that he's been wrestling injured with a looked like a collarbone injury, which they said it could possibly be spinal stenosis. So hopes and prayers are going that it doesn't be that bad, because if so, we know that's happened to the careers of Edge and Stone Cold. So man, I hope that it doesn't end like that for him. But you know, if that's going to be the case, then I hope Cesaro does be able to keep some kind of main event, feature.
Yeah, I agree. But that was a really great match with Roman and Cesaro, more because of Cesaro more than Roman. But I know C. Moody hates when I bash Roman for his in-ring capability. We saw Absolution attack Asuka. Asuka fought him off, and the whole roster comes down to help her. We saw Matt and Bray go at it again, back and forth. Woken versus the Eater of Worlds. And that's pretty much what Raw was. We saw Samoa Joe fight Dean Ambrose, which he won. We saw Seth and Sheamus go at it. And that's pretty much it, what Raw was. Raw was actually pretty decent. If I were to rate it, 6 out of 10 for me. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great.
Just because of those 3 matches that we've said, and I haven't seen it yet, I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10.
You're too gracious, my friend. So we're going to wrap up Raw.
Go straight into SmackDown.
We're going to go straight into SmackDown Live. So obviously...
Go home show.
The go home show for Clash of the Champions. So pretty much what we saw, SmackDown, kicked off with pretty much Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn petitioning the Yep movement.
I saw that. I think that is hilarious. I cannot wait to see that, just so I can see
Trying to get everybody on board, saying that it's the unfair inequality of Shane McMahon. It's got Shane McMahon's face on the sign with the little circle and the line going through it, like new leadership or whatever, like petitioning against that they've been treated unfairly by Shane McMahon. The show actually kicked off with the phenomenal one, AJ Styles, who comes down to the ring, with his WWE Championship, and he's just talking about, Mr. Jinder Mahal and having to face Jinder and saying how Jinder always needs help to win. He was the champion for over 6 months, and AJ was talking about how he's a fighting champion, how he doesn't need help to win, and how the great Khali had to help Jinder win in the Punjabi prison, or if it's not the Singh brothers helping him retain his title. And then the Singh brothers come out. And they say, well, this is usually the part where we would be introducing the modern day Maharaja. But we're actually coming down here to talk about how we feel about Jinder Mahal. And they showed the clip of how Jinder pretty much turned on them after they lost to AJ Styles a couple weeks ago and put the Kalash, very ugly looking Kalash. That is the worst move you ever want to see.
Nope.
He can never execute it with perfection on anybody, even as small as the Singh brothers. But anyway, they was talking about how he did them, how he treats them, how when they go out of town, they have to stay in a rundown motel where he gets to stay in a 5-star hotel, and how they made him kiss his feet, and they were saying his feet smells like something. They said it was like it ended up with chicken and something mixed with something. I don't know. Go back and look at it. I don't know exactly how they worded it, but it was a bad smell. And AJ's egging it on like, that's how his feet smells? Like, really? AJ's really egging it on like he's really believing what they're saying, like gassing them up. And he's like, we hate him, he treats us bad, and blah, blah, blah. They say all of that to say, we want to be in your corner at Clash of the Champions. And AJ's just like, you want to be in my corner? He was like, mighty funny you say all these things about Jinder Mahal, but last week when you guys were in India, you guys are right there with him. So what do you say about that? And, they didn't really have a rebuttal for that. So, and then his music, Jinder's music comes on. And then, he's looking at Jinder walking down the ramp, and then all of a sudden, like, AJ's just like, hey, I don't believe what you guys are saying. I don't believe any of this. And he attacks the Singhs pretty much and throws them, outside of the ring. And Jinder Mahal's laying there with them as they're on the outside of the ring, just giving AJ a death stare like, this is not the last of us. So I don't know if Jinder sent them out there to try to trick AJ as a way of making them think they're not all together, but in all actuality they are.
Right. Of course.
Yeah. And so that's pretty much what the first segment was. Also on Smackdown Live, we saw the women's. We know at Clash of Champions we're going to have a lumberjack match for the women's title. We saw that Charlotte went up against Ruby Riott. Came down to a really good match. At first, it was it was okay. I think they had Natalya ringside for the match, commentating the match, and the other, I don't know I don't really remember their names. I want to say it's who's all a part of the Riot Squad.
The Riot Squad.
Yeah, I know the Absolution member names, but I still haven't got familiar with the girls in the Riot Squad. I know it's Ruby Riott.
It's not Shayna Baszler.
Who? I can't remember their names, but anyway, C. Moody will get that for me. And they were fighting, and then we saw the return of.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Never mind. Go ahead. Take your time.
Okay. We saw the return of Naomi, as we know a couple weeks ago, Naomi was quote unquote injured per se of the WWE after the attacks from the Riot Squad, and then they were in that 6-man tag when it was Natalya, Naomi, Charlotte Flair versus the Riot Squad, and Natalya walked out on them and left Charlotte and Naomi to fend for themselves, and then on the outside of the ring, Naomi was being attacked, and they kind of did they threw her into the steel stairs. Go ahead.
Riot Squad, Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan.
There we go.
Sarah Logan.
I know their names, but I just can't remember their names. I know the Absolution members.
I got you.
But I don't know. It's like it's a each night is the same thing with these factions with the women. So it's hard to keep up with who's who and who's where. But and then Naomi was injured per se. Now she makes her return, comes back, exacts her revenge against the Riot Squad, and that's pretty much how that ended with that. So we now know Naomi is back. I don't know if she'll be ringside for the Lumberjack match. More than likely, she probably will be because she has ties to this rivalry that's going on. We also saw the rest of the girls come down from the roster. We saw we saw Naomi, but we saw Tamina, we saw Lana, and some of the other women from the roster come down to attack the Riot Squad as well. And that's how that went. Then we also saw the Usos go up against Aiden, English, and Rusev. Did we have a who won that match, a victory of who won that? I didn't catch the end of that match as well. But we do know the Usos have to defend their tag team titles at the Clash of Champions in a tag team, is it a fatal four-way now, because Aiden English and Rusev has been added to the match. So they're going to have to go up against Aiden English, Rusev. They're also going to have to go up against The New Day. And they're also going to have to go up against, like C. Moody likes to say, American Beta, but it's actually Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable. So C. Moody will give me an update on who won that match on SmackDown Live.
It acts like it don't want to tell me.
It don't want to tell you. So also, too, moving forward, we did see Baron Corbin, the United States champion, go up against Dolph Ziggler. We do know at Clash of Champions there's a triple threat match for the United States Championship where we'll see Baron Corbin versus Dolph Ziggler versus Bobby Roode. This week, Bobby Roode was ringside as opposed to last week when Roode fought Corbin in a one-on-one match that ended in a DQ because Dolph Ziggler was ringside and interfered. Put a zigzag on Corbin and Roode.
Rusev and Aiden English won.
Yeah, Rusev and Aiden English defeated the Usos. So good momentum for them going into Clash of Champions, Rusev Day. But back to the Corbin and Ziggler match. Roode was ringside. Match was going on not very long. And they were talking to Roode about some things at commentary. And Roode just proceeds to get up and say, excuse me, guys, for a moment. And he gets in the ring and does his little glorious spiel and puts a glorious DDT on Mr. Ziggler. And then follows up with one to Mr. Corbin, and that match ended in a disqualification because of Bobby Roode's interference. Throughout the night, we still got Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn pushing this Yep movement. They come down to the ring, and they just talk about the Yep movement. Daniel Bryan also comes down as well. I caught bits and pieces of it, but I really don't know what the conversation was there about that. See, Moody, you didn't catch it this week either, to know.
I didn't, man. I did not catch it. All I know is basically Daniel is starting to lean.
It looks like he's favoring more.
Exactly.
Over the past couple of weeks, it's like everything Shane tries to do to them. He's like, hey, Shane, hey, look at it this way. He's that guy that's he's not protecting them, but...
I mean, technically, because really, if you think about 2 weeks ago, Shane was about to fire him.
He was.
And Daniel was like, well, how about let's just make him suffer, And then,
like a lumberjack match.
And then Shane was like, good, we make him suffer, then we fire him. And then Daniel was like, nah, I'm not going to fire you guys. So now it's just been, hey, y'all, you got to fight these matches, but it's like... And I almost feel like Shane is starting to look at them in a sense of himself, but just in the heel versions of himself, because really it is them taking on the establishment, being Shane who can do anything he wants, and maybe Daniel feels like he's just another McMahon who's just drunk with power.
And that's kind of what Kevin Owens has been saying, just kind of like just Shane's abusing his power, and at least I know they said last week. I think this was last week. At least when it's just kind of like at least I think he said something. At least when I was on Monday Night Raw or something like that.
Yep.
Something about Stephanie. You didn't have to worry about that or something like that. You're just like the rest of them or something like that. Every McMahon is trying to do this or something like that, he said. But it is kind of like Daniel Bryan is kind of favoring them a whole lot more than normal. You know, trying to make it, I guess, an even thing. And he even challenged Shane McMahon a couple weeks ago saying that this is why you hired me to be the general manager. I'm not going to be, you know, no pun intended, you're a yes man for Daniel Bryan. So, I mean, so he's challenging what Shane comes up with every week. But we do know at the Clash of Champions it's going to be Shinsuke Nakamura teaming with Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn with Shane McMahon, the guest referee. And now we just found out that Daniel Bryan is also going to be inserting himself in this match as the second guest referee of the match. If the team of Owens and Zayn loses, they're gone away from the WWE for good. So it's not like Shane made that clear last week that it's not only SmackDown Live.
Oh, really?
It's the entire WWE.
Wow.
So they can't jump and go to Monday Night Raw if they lose.
Oh, so they're not going to lose this Sunday.
That's what makes you think they're not going to fire Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. It's just that's not going to take place.
Okay.
It's just not going to happen.
So that.
And then the main event, we had Nakamura versus Kevin Owens, and Nakamura did get the victory over KO. That's pretty much what the go home show was for SmackDown Live. And now we have the card for Clash of Champions. Also, too, I forgot to mention during a backstage incident, AJ Styles was being interviewed by what's Daniel Bryan's, not Daniel Bryan,
Renee Young.
Renee Young. I was trying to say Dean Ambrose's new wife. Renee Young is interviewing AJ Styles, and he's talking again, and somehow he's ambushed by Jinder Mahal and the Sings. And Jinder Mahal pretty much tells him, "Hey, this Sunday, pretty much I'm gonna get my title back."
If AJ had a faction, he wouldn't have to
He
worry
did
about
have a
it.
faction. They sent him to SmackDown Live because he was with the club.
He can make a new club.
I've pushed for a club. I
Get the
pushed
Usos.
for Balor and
Day one club.
and they kind of go together because the swag of AJ, his theme music, and how the Usos come out with their little.
I think so. Day one club. All of them are champions. But you know what's funny? On Instagram, who the Usos been taking a lot of pictures with is Rusev. Like, they work out together, and it's funny to look at it from a personal aspect.
But now we're feuding with him. But
right. I don't know if they would ever push that into like an actual like faction, of course. Which you got to understand, factions are ruling this company. Like, think in the independent market, the biggest thing you have right now is the Bullet Club. It's the biggest faction. Any section of independent wrestling. I mean, of course, there's great big people. Even Kenny Omega, I think now is a part of the Bullet Club. So it's like, factions win.
Yeah, faction. You got the Shield back, remember? And a lot of people saying they feel like that ain't gonna last much longer.
I hope it does.
I hope
it
does.
lasts.
I think they're gonna break it.
They can't.
Because sometimes they come out with their own little theme music. I'm like, okay, what's the point of it? The Shield if you're gonna come out to your own theme.
But that's good. I think that should make them feel like they can allow it to be longer because they can still brand them solo, but then when it's time
to bring it together,
it's Shield time. Like, if somebody tries to jump Dean, that music is gonna hit, and then you're gonna see Seth and Roman, and say someone jumps Seth. Like, I think it can stay like that and still be a long-lasting faction.
I like Seth Rollins. I love Seth Rollins to death. But Monday night, he kind of made me upset with how he said that.
What?
At the beginning of when Samoa Joe was out there talking, and he's like, "Oh," because I love what Samoa Joe said about the Shield. He said, "I'm unimpressed with the Shield." He was like, and I've had a chance to be with them up close and personal, and I'm unimpressed. He was like, "My first night here, I was able to mess up, Seth. I've heard the cracking of Seth Rollins' ligaments on the first night I was here.
That's true.
And the man who's always done his best to avoid me the entire time I've been in the WWE, Mr. Dean Ambrose, the human cockroach, is what he called him. And then he said, oh yeah, and who can forget the big dog, Roman Reigns, the one who I put to sleep time and time again. And then Seth Rollins is sitting there looking at the TV backstage, and Dean walks up, and Dean, you know how Dean is always like, he just ready to go. You just say go, we'll go down there and get him. Like, he's like, man, go get Roman, man, go get Roman. Yeah, go get the big dog. I'm like, no, Seth, don't co-sign the big dog.
I like that.
I don't like that.
I like that.
I'm used to, I guess, the heelish Seth Rollins. Don't call another man the big dog if you ain't insulting him about his name. Go get the big dog. Nah. Like, that's like, no.
Respect, man.
They ain't respect. Like, man, whatever. Like, this is Seth freaking Rollins, man. This is the architect, the Kingslayer.
This is
because as soon as Seth turns heel, Roman calls himself the big dog. You know, he's always bashing that name. But now that you're in the Shield, like, go get the big dog. You could just say, go get Roman, man. Yeah, go get the big dog.
I mean, okay, I feel like he could have just said, go get Roman. But I'm not offended by it.
I don't like it. I'm used to Seth being that guy that's like, he's the guy. He's like co-signing this
He's
now.
still the guy. It's just boys. I mean,
I didn't like that part. But anyway, let's go over the
Shield.
This
is the card for WWE Smackdown exclusive pay-per-view Clash of Champions, and it does begin with the pre-show. Mojo Rawley finally having this rivalry with his once tag team partner Zack Ryder. I feel like Mojo Rawley wins this.
I think so too. They're building him up for something. I don't know what it is though.
I wonder if they're actually going to give him an actual push. Zack had a chance. Zack did all right, and he he had a shine. There wasn't much more. He did get hurt though at one of his high points where they could have been like a real stretch for tag champions, and that was real unfortunate for him. Mm-hmm. So next we got the Bludgeon Brothers against Breezango.
Oh, that's a decimation.
That should be a squash.
That's a decimation.
Should definitely be a squash match. So.
Yeah. I mean, the Bludgeon Brothers, they win their matches in under 2 minutes.
Every
time they've been out there, their entrance has been longer than the actual match.
That is very true. That is very true.
Yeah, they win that easy.
Okay. First championship match on the card, we have triple threat championship match. Baron Corbin, United States champion, taking on Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode.
This has been a tricky one for me as I've been thinking. I want Bobby Roode to win, but I don't think he's going to win the title just yet.
You don't think so?
I think somehow Ziggler escapes with the title because of his skill set in the ring.
I respect
I think that super kick might do it. Or it might be some kind of flunkish finish to where Corbin can squirm away because we know he's a win by any means necessary guy too. But I'm going to go with Ziggler just for the sake of pay. I think Ziggler finds a way to win it. But we'll see.
I think Ziggler winning it will be a better way to continue to Ziggler
with Roode.
Because if Roode wins it, you don't have to go back to Ziggler.
Because I think eventually they're going to push Baron Corbin up to fight for the WWE title. I think that's what they were doing when he won the Money in the Bank. But then, like you were saying, how he was talking about
altercations outside of the ring.
Yeah, outside.
Like you said, bashing the U.S. official.
Mm-hmm. So I think they kind of dropped him down a little bit. But I think eventually they're going to build him up to be for the main title. And
honestly, I mean, really, this can be two feuds ended between this match and the actual main event between AJ Styles. So AJ Styles finally gets past Jinder. Baron Corbin loses the title. He's pretty much wide open to take another shot at it.
And then they already feuded a little bit with the U.S. belt too. So, and he beat AJ for the U.S. belt. Why not? Well, I've already taken the U.S. title from you. Now I'm going to take the
I don't want to see him in WrestleMania, but I mean, I would like that right now.
That could be a quick little feud at Fastlane or Royal Rumble or something just to get AJ through. Because ultimately, I want to see AJ and Shinsuke for the title at WrestleMania.
I like that. I like that a lot. But I think with that being said, I don't know where they will go afterwards.
Or
but
maybe
I'm going Rude.
Depending on where this whole thing with Orton and stuff goes. I mean, what is he going to do after this feud? I think him and Kevin Owens are going to have a feud, though. So I think
you should
continue.
RKO versus KO.
Yeah.
So, but I'm gonna go Rude this one. Next match, we got a fatal 4-way tag championship match. We have American Beta, which is technically just Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin, or as the Usos call it, Shelton Benjamin. Then we have Rusev Day with his singer, Aiden English. The New Day, I don't know what 2 of the 3 is going to be a part of it. And the Usos, the champions. Who do you think is going to take it? Usos? I got Usos. Who do you have? But you know what? Alright, I don't know if they had it before, but when I was on WWEshop.com last night, they have New Day has their own brand tag team championships. Like, you know how right now the tag team championships are just blue? It has the New Day design in the space of the blue with the tag team belts. So I don't know, is that like a subliminal spoiler to say that they're going to get it back? So, because it did say New Day Smackdown, but go ahead. You think that's who it is? Who do you think is going to get it?
Gable and Benjamin.
Gable and Benjamin get their first tag together? Okay. All right. I respect that. I respect it. So, next we had the next championship match is the Lumberjill women's match between Charlotte Flair, the defending champion, going in against Natalya.
I think Charlotte retains here.
I hope so.
I think this whole lumberjack thing is going to be a chaotic thing on the outside.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Carmella cashes in.
Ooh.
With all the chaos going on.
I'm going to put that in there.
Yep.
Carmella cashes. That's what D. Moody says.
And Carmella's going to be a women's champion. She's going to take advantage of all the craziness going on. And somehow insert herself in.
Cash it in.
Yep.
Okay. I'm going with Charlotte. I didn't think of that scenario.
We keep forgetting about that.
I totally forgot that Carmella has that.
I'm not saying it'll happen, but eventually she got to try that.
I mean,
she's yet to try, but like once.
And with everything going on, this honestly would be a perfect setting to do it.
Mm-hmm.
That gives Charlotte a rematch if she does take it for Royal Rumble as well. And then that can set up whatever other lasting, thing for WrestleMania. That gives a free storyline addition if they do it this way, instead of just saying like trying to pick from a litter and someone randomly steps up, Mm-hmm. So okay, I like that. I like that idea. Next we have with their jobs on the line. We have Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn in a tag match against RKO and Shinsuke Nakamura, with Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan as 2 special guest referees. Who do you think is going to win?
KO, they're not firing. These guys not losing their jobs, man. It's going to be a crazy finish to this match. I think Daniel Bryan's going to... like I told you before we started tonight, I think he's going to be like in a situation where he's going to have to... He's going to be the one...
He's going to have to get involved.
Not get involved in a physical way, but I think it could be where Shane could lose his cool or something, and where he's going to have to take it over. And I think it's going to come down to a thing where something may happen that he might not see, and then he turns around and sees like a pinning situation to where he has to count it, even though he may not know exactly what happened. I don't think Shinsuke is going to take the pin. I think if anything, they'll pin Orton, if anything. But somehow Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, they're really good heels. They're going to find a way to win. They'll find a way to play Daniel Bryan against Shane, maybe, to find a way to win this match. I think, but Daniel's going to be the one to count the 3 count. I think, and it's going to cause some tension between him and Shane. But it's going to be one of those things where he's in a situation where he's like, I don't really know what just happened, but anyway, 1, 2, 3.
I don't think he's going to pin it. I think I agree. I think only reason I think that's Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn is going to win, because I want to say that Randy Orton and Nakamura win, and somehow Daniel just decides to override it,
overturn it, or they win it based off something Shane did.
Right.
And Daniel may see Shane.
But then again, if you look at it, the rank of power is Shane at the top. So it's like Daniel argues, and then it's just like, who are you to argue the commissioner or, of this situation? So that's why I can't give it to
the show, though.
But I mean, it's the commissioner. He's like the owner of the show.
What I'm saying, Daniel Bryan is.
No, Shane is.
I'm saying he's the general manager of SmackDown Live.
I get it, but
he can make decisions regarding the superstars, but although Shane can override him.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. That's why I want to say that RKO and Nakamura are going to win it, but because of that, Shane has that rank of power over him that they can't let it go that way. So I feel like Kevin Owens and Zayn are going to win, but I feel like a new faction is going to come out of this. Daniel's going to fully turn on Shane after this. Fully turn. I'm calling that. I already wrote it down. New faction, Daniel turns. And the last championship match, the main event will be AJ Styles defending his championship against the Yesterday Maharaja, as Wrestle Talk TV calls it, the Yesterday Maharaja.
He hasn't, since he's had the belt, he looks so much different, but he hasn't really been as vocal. Nope. He hasn't really been. He's been there, but it's not like he hasn't been. It's not like he's there.
Yeah. It really is. He's totally forgotten. That's how bad that's forgetful.
That's what you know how like he's just like, oh, it's Jinder Mahal. That's how I mean, even when he was a champion, you felt like, oh man, I hate seeing him every week. Oh God, he getting on my nerves.
And I feel bad.
He doesn't even get on my nerves anymore. It's just like he's just it's Jinder
somebody.
Mahal.
It's just a commercial.
He hasn't really talked. He hasn't really talked as much as he was when he was the champion with this feud. And he hasn't. Only thing he does is just ambush AJ at this point.
Yeah,
and he gets mad at the Sings when they can't get the best of AJ.
Yeah. So you going with AJ?
Yeah, I'm going with AJ.
I'm going with AJ as well.
AJ gonna take this.
So that is it for the WWE, man. With this little bit of time left, we are going to take one last break. And when we come back, we're going to get into In Other Sports, hitting up the NBA. We're also going to recap one thing in college sports you might have missed, dealing with it a little award show. And what else we got? That's it?
We're going to talk about a big move in Major League Baseball. The Yankees have a new slugger. Who is it?
2 Moody's.
1 Duty.
Sports. We are Sports Moves. We'll be right back. What's going on, guys? As always, it is C Moody here with
D Moody.
We are Sports Moves, man. Because of the fact that we don't have college sports, we've had more time to talk about WWE. We actually got into an off-kilter topic talking about the skill set between Roman Reigns and everyone else in the WWE, which really didn't mean to go as in-depth as we meant for it to be. We probably would have saved that for a better time. But right now, we've already covered the NFL and WWE. We're going to hit you up with a little bit of basketball. As we know right now, I want to go ahead and start with the standings. Boston is still at the top of the East right now at 24-6. Right behind them is Cleveland at 21-8. Then there's the Raptors at 18-8. Milwaukee at number 4, 15-11. And the Pacers at number 5 with 16-12. The Wizards are at number 6 at 15-13. Detroit Pistons, they've dropped. I think last time we talked on them, they were number 5, I want to say. Now they're 15-13 at number 7. And the Knicks, if the playoffs were to start, they are number 8, and they are in at 15-13. Without Carmelo, that's kind of weird to say, but hey, I think once again, I feel like without Carmelo, it gave more space for Porzingis to kind of really take his role, and I think it's more suited for his role instead of Carmelo.
Yeah, remember when they drafted Porzingis? A lot of the Knicks fans booed that pick.
Yeah, they really didn't like it.
They didn't like that pick when Phil went with him, but I mean, now you see what he's capable of doing. He's having a really good season, man. Putting up some good numbers. And
on the Western Conference, the best team in the league as of right now, Houston Rockets, with the number 1 man in the league right now, James Harden. They are right now 22-4. Number 2, though, 1 game behind is the Golden State Warriors, 22-6. Number 3 is the Spurs, always in the top 5 of the Western Conference almost every year, seemingly, 19-9. Number 4 is the Minnesota Timberwolves, 17-12. Number 5 is the Denver Nuggets at 15-13. Number 6, Portland Trail Blazers at 14-13. 7 are the New Orleans Pelicans at also 15-14. And 8 is the Oklahoma City Thunder with their newfound Big Three trying to get their chemistry together.
They're still trying to find the chemistry. I think they have a below 500 record. Paul George returned home last night to Indiana. Didn't really have a great game. The Big Three really didn't do that well. I think they only scored a total of 34 points between all three of them last night. They were talking about on SportsCenter this morning between him, Westbrook, and George, and then the bench scored 66 of the 100 points.
Wow,
that they had last night to win the close one in Indiana. And then the Pelicans, just talking about some of the teams there. They're a scrappy team, man. DeMarcus Cousins, man, he's been going at it, man. Him and Durant had a little falling out a couple weeks ago.
Right.
Where I think both of them had to end up getting teed up. And then last night, him and Antetokounmpo. Yeah, they were going back and forth last night, too. So I like what DeMarcus Cousins brings to the Pelican. It kind of gives them that ruggedness about them. They're going to be a team that whoever has to face them in the playoffs, that's going to be a tough matchup for them as well, just because of the physicality of those two big men with unibrow. Anthony Davis and the brow and DeMarcus Cousins.
Definitely, man. Mm-hmm. What's going on in basketball tonight, though? One of the games that already was over with. The Cavaliers beating up on the LA Lakers 121-112. LeBron James, of course, played great basketball. Great basketball, getting a triple-double with 12 assists, 12 rebounds, and 25 points. Dwayne Wade did have 10. Kevin Love also came away with a double-double at 28 points and 11 rebounds. On the other side, trying to find LeVar Ball, he did have a double-double. Lonzo Ball.
I'm gonna say if LeVar Ball had a double-double.
No,
I need to go look at TV now.
Right. Lonzo
put
Ball,
this podcast on pause and let me watch that.
Lonzo Ball, man, had 13 points, 11 assists, and 8 rebounds, so almost a triple-double. Larry Nance Jr. had 12 rebounds and just 6 points. So that's what happened between that game. Also, another game that ended, the Minnesota Timberwolves beating the Sacramento Kings.
Minnesota Timberwolves beat the Minnesota Timberwolves.
I was like, what is... Listen, man. Anyway, it was a 119-96. Andrew Wiggins had 22 points. Karl Anthony Towns had 30 points, 14 rebounds.
Good.
Great win on that side. On the other side of the ball, really the only scorer, Aaron Fox only came away with 2 points, only playing 7 minutes in this game. George Hill, though, had 16 points, and Zach Randolph had 15 with 9 rebounds. Other sides going on, the New York Knicks did beat the Brooklyn Nets 111-104. Kristaps Porzingis had 13 points. What's his name? Courtney Lee had 27 points. So had a big game from him. Big
explosion from him.
Definitely. Haven't seen him really get like that in a while. He's a good player, and he has his moments every now and then. The Detroit Pistons beating the Atlanta Hawks, which was in the playoffs just not so long ago, making a good way up the East. Atlanta Hawks falling from grace.
They have with Horford left and Jeff Teague gone.
Yeah.
They had Dwight Howard, last year?
Yeah.
And he left. So, they're just kind of more of like in a rebuilding stage at this point.
Right.
But, that was a 60-win team a couple of years ago. So,
exactly.
Like you said, falling from grace. But they used to always just run into Cleveland in the playoffs where they got swept.
Yep. So. 105-91, to say the least. Andre Drummond did have a double-double with 19 rebounds and 12 points. Other games that are going on as of right now, the Golden State Warriors are down 8-14 to the Dallas Mavericks.
And the Mavericks just got a nice win the other night over the Spurs with a returning Kawhi Leonard. So, the Mavericks, they're not playing really good basketball in terms of what their record looks like right now, but they can be that little scrappy, dangerous team that could trap you in a game if you're not playing your best basketball that night.
Right. So, man, that's it for the NBA right now, man. What's going on in other sports?
In other sports right now, we did learn in college football, they crowned a Heisman on Saturday night.
I didn't mean to hit that one. Hilarious.
I wish you could have saw the look I gave him when he hit the wrong button. I'm sitting here like, we crowned a Heisman. That puts you in a bad mood.
Oh, man. I'm sorry.
I'm
sorry, man.
As I was saying, we crowned a Heisman Trophy winner this past Saturday night. Baker Mayfield, if you didn't already know, is the Heisman Trophy winner. So congratulations to Baker Mayfield. Put together a stellar season and becomes the Heisman Trophy winner. Congratulations to Baker Mayfield.
In other sports,
we had a major development in Major League Baseball for the Yankees. Like, we had two really big things happen. As we know, the Yankees a couple weeks ago, right at the end of their season, let Joe Girardi go, their former manager. And last week they signed former Yankee player Aaron Boone to be their new general manager. And they also was able to pick up Giancarlo Stanton from the Marlins. The NL MVP is now signed to the Yankees. So that's a huge signing for the Yankees. A lot of guaranteed money in that deal as well. So now you have Giancarlo Stanton, who's a slugger, along with Aaron Judge, who had a great rookie season, who's only going to get better. You have those two big bats in the lineup. It's going to be a nightmare for opposing pitchers. So are you shocked at the fact that the Yankees already pulled the trigger this early in the game, the offseason, to land Stanton?
No, not at all. They're trying to get better. And I actually like this to show that, they're not taking any time off to kind of regroup or whatever. It seemed like they already had their mindset on trying to reach out for him. And so the fact that they already jumped the gun with that actually gives them more time to bring him into the system over this offseason.
Then you'll have spring training, then he'll get to know the team and build some relationships there.
Exactly.
We do know that CC Sabathia, we want to know if he re-signs with the Yankees or not. If not, we hate to lose CC. Hopefully he'll re-sign. But he's a free agent, and the Yankees also lost Padina to the Minnesota Twins on yesterday. Another pitcher gone for the Yankees. But big news for them. Aaron Boone will be taking over, former Yankee player. And most of the time when the Yankees, get a general manager, that's a tough job to take. I thought Joe Girardi did a good job. Really, a lot of people felt the Yankees overachieved last year. A lot of people felt they were supposed to be in a rebuilding stage, and that they were a couple of years away from being what they were last year. But they overachieved, and now adding Stanton to this.
Yeah. But
now you do have a new manager. We got to see what kind of leadership style Aaron Boone is going to bring to the table for them. He knows the franchise well because he played for the franchise, so he knows what those expectations are. But just meshing with this young team, a lot of people felt that Joe Girardi just was too old school for this young team that he had, and that's why the Yankees parted ways with him. He did win him a World Series championship back in 2009 for Joe Girardi, but now Aaron Boone is in, and so is Giancarlo Stanton to the Yankees. So that was a huge development there in Major League Baseball. And also the winter meetings are going on, so I'm pretty sure we're going to start seeing a lot of other deals going on, right, trades and all this other stuff in Major League Baseball going on. But one more thing I wanted to hit in other sports. Not sad news, but it's kind of more of a disturbing news. If you haven't been paying attention with the NFL Network, Heath Evans, Marshall Faulk, and Ike Taylor accused of sexual harassment for a former wardrobe worker, and they have been suspended by NFL Network because of it. Never a good thing with sexual harassment. As a man, you got to be able to keep your comments or your thoughts, or especially in the work area, that's supposed to be a professional environment that you're in anyway. We're all men, but you still have to have integrity about things like that, and you just can't just blatantly say or do things to women. We have to respect them. Yeah, we have to respect them. They're beautiful creatures, they are, but you can't allow your mind to have you lustfully make comments or say things about a woman in that way, especially when you're in a work environment, regardless of whether it's in the workplace or just in general. There's just really no place for that, because you want to be able to respect a woman and make them feel comfortable being around you, because they have to make a living too, and they have to live in society, and you can't constantly have a man always hovering over or salivating at their presence or when they walk in. Now, they do have to uphold themselves as womanly figures with class and dignity and respect. So I feel like sometimes you put yourself out there like that, you're going to get some of that.
I agree to an extent. My cousin, we talk about this all the time. It's like, some people, some women in general are always talking about how men are, like you said, drooling at them, out at them. But it's like, it's the way you present yourself to an extent. Like, even though they be like, you should still have some, you should still be able to hold yourself. But it's like, when you're trying to draw an attraction, don't be upset when you
get a remark
get a reaction.
Yeah. So, I mean, those guys, it's very unfortunate that they have to be suspended, for that.
Yeah, and we're not saying that to the defense of them, not at all.
Yeah, at all. No, because it's not acceptable, none whatsoever.
And on a personal note, I didn't mean to cut you off right there. I really just have to leave that a bad mood, just because for the fact of growing up, like I said, watching football, Marshall Faulk was my favorite player. So, to
never
see...
would associate that with him.
Exactly. And, whenever you have a favorite player, you seem like, to an extent, you feel like you know the person. It's like, yeah, it's Marshall Faulk. That's my guy.
You wouldn't do
and then
that.
And so to see that, with them, that really just disgusts me a little bit, man. So
yeah, it is disgusting all over. I mean, Heath Evans... a lot of these guys, you see them every day on TV. Like you say, when you watch something or tune into something all the time, and you just feel like, oh, they wouldn't do that. You feel like you know them, you have a connection with them, and then when real life news hits, it's like, man, I wouldn't even...
These guys really suck.
Yeah, I don't even think they would do that, But, it is what it is, and I'm glad NFL Network took the proper stand against that. Whether it's criminal domestic violence against a woman or sexual harassment or whatever it is. We saw at CBS last week, a couple of their anchors got let go because of that as well. So it's becoming a major issue that's been swirling around in show business, and it's just really no place for it. You got to be able to conduct yourself in a professional manner in the workplace.
Definitely, man. Definitely. One last thing as we leave in the last little bit of in other sports, unless D Moody has something extra. Just wanting to not even really talk about it, but just get you ready for some college bowl games that actually is coming up this weekend, December 16th. We have 5 games on the board. Maybe might not be in your best, not something that's on your watch list, but it is going on this weekend if you just want to get a taste of some college football as you get ready for the big bowl games or college playoffs, I guess you would say, coming up. Right. So coming up this Saturday, you're starting off with Troy versus North Texas in the R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl. And then you have Western Kentucky versus Georgia State at the Auto Nation Cure Bowl. Then we have number 25 Boise State versus Oregon at the Las Vegas Bowl. Marshall versus Colorado State at the Gildan, New Mexico Bowl. And Mid-Tennessee versus Arkansas State in the Raycom Media Camellia Bowl. I think I said that last one right. Ooh. So, that's what's going on in the college sports. If you want to catch some bowl game, you're missing college sports for this past week, it's starting. It's getting there.
Yeah. I'm really excited just for bowl season, but just for the New Year's Six as well.
Yeah.
Just to see those big bowl games. Really ready to see Clemson and Bama go at it again. And
definitely.
Really see what this Georgia-Oklahoma game is going to bring us. But really amped up for that. What's an update right now with the Thursday night football game with Broncos and Colts?
Thursday night football, it is in the fourth quarter right now. 6 minutes left. Denver is up 22-13.
Got my game back.
I see that. Game 1 is already yours from the looks of it.
Don't look like it yet. Don't count. I mean, we did see Pittsburgh did what they did.
I mean, this isn't Pittsburgh.
It's
not Pittsburgh.
Andrew Luck gonna suit up the last 6 minutes and come out. Make a return.
I have no. I
throw
can't
like
even
5
respond.
Hail Marys for touchdowns. They gonna win.
Okay.
Just kidding. But then again, guys, we're getting down to the end of this podcast. Again, we want to thank each and every person that take the time out to indulge us every week.
Definitely.
For the past few weeks, or if you're just joining us for the first time, thank you once again to everyone who listens. I know tonight we were kind of all over the place with some things. This probably wasn't our best, but
we're not professional. We kind of went off script a lot.
Yeah, we did, but we sometimes get passionate about what we're talking about, and we kind of have a little sidebar on some things, and we have to kind of rein it back in.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, thanks for all the support. You can follow us on social media at Sports Moods for Twitter, and for Instagram at its Sports Moods.
Yep.
On Instagram. And again, can't do enough to thank you guys. We've been doing this now almost going into our 4th month right here.
Yep.
Doing this. So we just want to find ways to get better, ways to improve. We want your feedback. We want you to let us know what we're doing well, what we can get better at. And just thank you for just taking the time out once again just to listen to this podcast for us.
Definitely. Anywhere from, like we said, anywhere around the country, starting in our own home state. We thank Timminsville for being a constant listener. Ashburn, Virginia for being a constant listener. We thank anybody who we've seen stretches from New York to California to Canada.
Even New Zealand
New Zealand
last
New
week.
Zealand, man.
So that's huge, man. Again, tell a friend, anybody you know who loves sports, pass it along to them. We're trying to get as many viewers and listeners as possible. To try to build our fan base here. We want to get more followers on Twitter. Check out the Instagram page. We are going to be making a Facebook page pretty soon. Me and C. Moody will get together on that for those who want to follow us there. But again, much appreciation goes to you guys, man. This is why we do it. We don't do this for ourselves. We do it just to try to be the go-to in sports. And some of you guys listen to us every week.
Yeah.
Waiting to hear what we think about what happened in the world of sports. So we thank you guys and continue to stick with us.
Yeah, definitely, man. Give feedback. We always talk about it, and we really want it. We really want to hear your thoughts, your ideas, because we can all do this together. We can grow from it and be better at it, because you are the fans, just like how WWE says, we try to listen to our fans so we can be better for our fans.
But the thing is, they don't listen.
That's true. That's true. That's definitely true. We don't want to be Finn Balor. We don't want to be put to the side. We're supposed to be over.
Yeah,
exactly.
Be over.
So help get us over for you. So, but once again, man, thanks again. As always, we have been Sports Moods. And as always, I am C. Moody here with
D. Moody. 2 Moody's.
1 duty.
Sports. Also, guys, have a happy holidays if we don't get another podcast up by Christmas. Me and C. Moody, just kind of stay tuned to let us know if we'll make it for you or not.
Definitely, guys. I just had to pause it just to say that. Big Merry Christmas. Whatever you're celebrating, Christmas, Hanukkah, I don't know anything besides those 2 that's going on. Forgive me if it is, and I just really am ignorant and don't know. But guys, happy holidays. We appreciate it. And we are out.